It is 6 o'clock. Good morning for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Will Bowling. North Carolina opened up the 2025 NCAA tournament with a dominant win over San Diego State in the first four last night. The Tar Heels win 95-68. R.J. Davis scored 26 points and was 6 of 6 from three-point range. That game followed a dramatic finish in the 16-seed matchup as Amar Knox's layup with a second left lifted Alabama State to its first NCAA tournament win last night, 70-68 over St. Francis. Now Alabama State will get in-state matchup with Auburn, the number one overall seed in the NCAA tournament. In NFL news yesterday, the Green Bay Packers are signing wide receiver Mecole Hardman to a one-year deal. According to multiple reports, Hardman played in only 6 games with 2 starts, catching 14 passes for 118 yards a season ago for Kansas City. And defensive end Brandon Graham announced his retirement Tuesday after 15 seasons in the NFL. A first-round pick out of Michigan in 2010, Graham spent his entire career in Philadelphia. He holds the team record for most regular season games played at 206 and is third all-time in sacks at 76.5. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. RKW brewed up by Scooter's Coffee, kicking off your Wednesday on 104.5 The Zone with lots to come this morning, including a big conversation in just over an hour. NFL Network's Charles Davis will be here. Rhett Brian is going to take his first look at a positional preview with us in the NFL draft. We are talking running backs in the draft with Rhett this morning, plus our favorite and least favorite Titans decisions of the offseason. Our favorite decision is when you call us at 615-737-1045. Crew's all here in studio, kicking off March the 19th. Good morning.
Morning. We're doing good this morning. What was that, a stretch?
It was a stretch. I was going to make a noise, and I said, don't do it.
The noise was. I know.
I said, don't do it.
It was like one of those silent movies where I saw the theatrics, but no words coming out of your mouth.
Of it, yes.
Oh, speaking of mouth, by the way, shout out to Vols fans all over the country and just in your dentist office.
The dentist office?
So I don't like the dentist. I'll be the first to admit. I like getting my teeth cleaned in the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
But I do not like getting my teeth cleaned. Then I'm always nervous I'm going to have a cavity. You know, as you get older.
The bad news from the place you're already scared to go to. Yeah.
But I just switched over last year to a new dentist, Bell Mead Family Dentistry. Shout out to them there. They are awesome. And went and got my teeth cleaned.
Yeah.
And my dentist that I just met last visit, he is a huge Vols fan. And when I talk about huge Vols fan, first of all, he listens to the station.
Yeah. That's the first thing he's doing right.
In Nashville, everybody does.
Second of all, he wanted to, of course, talk basketball, but he brought up baseball first and foremost yesterday. He wanted to talk baseball even before basketball yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm all about it. I mean, my mouth is hurting and everything, but when it's all said and done, I'll talk sports any day of the week.
Absolutely.
So shout out to my dentist at Bell Mead Family Dentistry.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I actually don't hate going to the dentist as much these days.
You probably never got cavities, though.
I did as a kid.
I've never had one.
Are you serious?
Never
Lucky
had one.
You.
I know.
Yeah.
I've never mind going to the dentist.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Like, they hit the gums a little bit from time to time, but I don't really mind it as much as like I used to. Like, I'm not as terrified of them because I do try to take care of them. I floss daily.
So do I.
Yeah,
I've never flossed probably in the last decade.
Really?
But I've also never had a cavity.
My boy, you got to floss just for the build-up.
Constant brusher.
Okay.
You know me.
Just get flossy.
Constant brusher. Well, I am too, but I enjoy flossing too. Plus, I got a food trap back there too in the back, and I got to make sure I get it clean, man. I hate that.
Clean your
Absolutely.
teeth. That is the point of this whole intro. Clean your teeth no matter what you do. Just go see the dentist.
And Vols fans are everywhere.
And Vols fans everywhere.
Yeah.
It was two things I used to hate as a kid. Well, one I was scared of. One was the dentist. And the other one, The Simpsons used to make it seem like Brussels sprouts were the worst. I absolutely love Brussels sprouts.
My favorite vegetable.
It is.
It's not even close either.
They are so
That is one area where saying it's not even close actually does apply. I love Brussels sprouts.
They stink, but they are so good.
Yeah, when you cook them in the house like they can, but man, let me tell you, that is, I enjoy good Brussels sprout. Keisha made some the other day, man. It was so fire. I ain't gonna lie to you. Quick little pro tip. If you into this, go and step. I was line stepping. Put a little drizzle of
hot honey.
No,
vinegar,
truffle oil. Truffle oil.
Well, we had three very different
I know.
items that we
I was
mentioned
thinking olive oil.
to finish your sentence. Vinegar. Talk me through that, Justin.
Vinegar.
Vinegar?
Like balsamic vinegar.
Oh, balsamic
vinegar.
Okay.
That's a different.
Yeah.
Y'all ever been to
All right, I'm
Jonathan's?
tracking.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
They have some fire.
You can get that same glaze at Kroger. I know it. I know where it's at. Yeah, I know
a
where
nice
it's at.
roasted Brussels sprout with some balsamic vinaigrette. Oh,
Yum.
my God.
Well, I will
with
say
that.
that the headline of this morning is that on my way to Knoxville yesterday, I stopped at the Mount Juliet Scooters Coffee location.
Yes.
Guys, the maple waffle bite is something that you need in your life. This is a little mini maple drizzled waffle that is a sausage, egg, and cheese in between, like these little waffle pieces. I got a caramelicious coffee, a cinnamon roll, which because I'm a ninja, I ate it while I was driving to Knoxville, and it was totally safe because it's so soft that it just falls apart.
Right.
It just totally oh my gosh, this is a warm cinnamon roll that is just easy with my fork to just get what I need. And then the waffle bite was
sounds
maybe the
good.
star of the show. This was not just like, hey, you go to a lot of coffee shops and sometimes they just throw something in an oven and you could tell it was either really frozen or like really crusty. No, this was like fresh, good food.
Yes.
That I'm serious. Like I love when we partner with places that we really like enjoy going to. Scooters is that. These guys are legit. So go get you one this morning to start your day. It was absolutely terrific up there. Very fast. It was very affordable, just $11.
Look at
for
that.
a coffee
Sounds fire.
with cream.
That's really good.
And a cinnamon roll and a breakfast sandwich with a little waffle flavor.
Dang.
Terrific. 10 out of 10. So you need that in your life to start your morning.
That'd be me right
Absolutely.
there. I'll double up like that too. That sounds like the Will Bowling combo as well.
Well, I knew I wasn't going to be able to eat again until probably like 10 or 11 p.m., which ended up being
That's what
the case.
I figured. Yeah.
Because I prefer to broadcast hungry because you're more locked in when you're hungry.
That's what you're
as
saying.
a play-by-play broadcaster.
Okay. So you get a little bit of the itis whenever you get too full before the broadcast.
I was as locked in as ETSU last night, who
I know.
pulled off the upset. I think
You
I am the
guys said
problem.
it.
Jinxes aren't real, but if they were, I would be one for Tennessee baseball because I've called 3 games in the last 2 years now, and they've lost 2 of them. And they lose like once every, 20 games.
That's what I heard last night. It was the first loss in 23 games, whatever.
They were 1 win shy of 23 in a row, which would have tied a Tennessee record, and then they were 2 wins shy of the SEC record for consecutive wins. This is why no one goes undefeated in baseball. If you watched the game last night, 2 diving catches to extend the game, including one with a runner on second in the 9th inning that sent it to the 10th. ETSU 4th in the country in homers. Tennessee hit the ball hard right at people. I think they left 14 guys on base. It's why nobody goes undefeated in baseball at any level. It was a really fun game. Yeah.
This is why I told you before you
we're
left.
not doing this.
I told you before you left.
Justin, listen. If I could impact results of my favorite teams
Justin.
with my words, then my teams would have more than 2 championships in my lifetime. And I'm not counting 98 because I was 1. So I would have a lot more than a Braves World Series and a Tennessee World Series.
How'd it go, Just?
You talked yesterday about if you talk about it, it'll be fine. It won't go extra
I
innings.
also
What did
said
it
I
do?
think
It went
they
to
might
extra
lose.
innings. It went to 10 innings.
I know.
I told you,
I also
every
said
time I
they will likely fall. Not likely. I just said I would not be surprised at all if they lost. And then Austin came on and said the same.
Said the same thing.
Justin warned you, though.
Every time.
Austin messaged me. You get so many texts from people during these games, including like
I texted
people
you
that
last
we
night.
have. That's right. Including people we have on the show. And Austin like messages me in like the 7th innings, like told you. It's like, yeah, you did.
You're like, yeah, I said it too.
By the way, the call was good last night, man. You were calling it good. Like, you called it to where you didn't know you were a Vols fan.
Yeah, of course
Right.
not.
That's
the way you're supposed to do this.
I know, but I've heard other,
I know,
Yeah.
and that's a problem.
I've heard like NFL programs. I've heard college programs. Like Georgia's broadcast Lord.
It's funny because I actually did the Tennessee-Georgia loss last year. And
Oh, my.
I have Georgia family members who are texting me like, wow, he's really unbiased. I was like, yeah, that's the job. Like, I don't know. Like, I'll be a fan here, but when that mic turns on, like, I'm 50-50, man.
Yo, like I've heard NFL broadcasters be like, okay, all right, now everything that you're saying isn't real. Like, stop that. And it's very biased. Like, I've heard sometimes, especially on the college side, I've heard like the color guys the color guys just get like totally ticked off. And I'd be like, wait a minute, you gotta bring it back here. There's somebody else listening to this.
There's some national guys that you can tell the bias in them.
It's funny, but I had to I hit Will last night. I was like, man, I hear my guy didn't we was watching like that diving catch.
That was crazy.
Center field. That guy was going to
Jamie
hell.
Palmise.
He was
leadoff batter for ETSU, who hit the 2-run homer to send it to the bottom of the ninth, tied up.
They hit bombs. Yeah, ETSU hit bombs, man.
Jay on YouTube says, "Of course you'll want to talk baseball now. It's going to be okay."
Oh,
no.
We all love baseball on this show. By
it's
the way,
more also that I just did the game, so I think we'd be talking about it if they went.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to happen. It was either that or hey, you guys aren't 20-0 anymore.
You won't even talk about it because you finally lost. Like, it's really okay.
We're actually bigging up ETSU. Oh, by the way, my nephew's not really my nephew. He is my nephew. Matthew. He plays for ETSU football. He was like, "What the hell is a fall?" And I was just like, "You wait till the fall. As soon as you walk in that stadium, you gonna see this fall."
It was awesome though. Yeah, you'll probably see on SportsCenter some top 10 plays of some of these diving catches.
Yeah, UT plays ETSU, so we'll get them back in the fall as the plan.
Well, they'll probably get them back again in the spring. Honestly,
damn right.
Too.
I'm gonna be real.
They had a midweek loss in 2022, the best regular season team in the history of the sport. And they had a midweek loss last year, too, Tennessee. I think to Lipscomb, if I'm not mistaken. So, everyone kind of gets one. You start to worry when you lose like 2 or 3 of these, but even the elite teams, like LSU's already had one, too. So
yeah, they did.
Everybody kind of gets 1 or 2.
Sandy's had one.
A lot of games
everybody. It is. 100%.
No doubt. It was fun.
State school, man. They got a check and a dub.
Yep.
Yeah, the SoCon is a good baseball conference. Mercer beat FSU last night as well.
Did they really?
Yeah. So
Nice.
The Southern Conference had a little bit of a night. By
the way,
did not expect to go this deep into college baseball this morning, but that's okay.
Never lose to your friends' kids' teams, okay? Yesterday, we're doing football workouts, all right, in the gym at Beach, all right? And my homeboy, Miles' homeboy, Crew's like, hey, Mr. Foster. Mr. Foster, who won the SEC tournament?
Oh, gosh.
Big Florida fan, Crew is, okay? And I'm just like, all right, Crew. Y'all won it. You got it. And I just hit him with, but who team got swept in baseball? No. I'm not a baseball fan. It's like, no, you can't have it this way. So I had to teach some lessons, man. He just drove it into the ground. I can't wait till Florida lose big again. Listen, I can't wait. I will bully your kid. Do you hear me? I can't wait to talk trash about his sports.
Highlight of the morning. Sully on YouTube says, well, MLB opening day was last night in Tokyo, so talking baseball is all right.
There we go.
2 things. First of all, opening day still hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Just because
Not
Tokyo series, not opening day. B, if you polled 100 people on the street in Nashville and asked them, hey, has the baseball season started? I bet 5 of them would know that there's a Tokyo series going
I'd be
on.
one of them.
5 of them. I will not be yesterday because I had no idea. I'm a huge baseball fan. Had no idea that was happening yesterday until I saw the highlights as we started the show. Just like this morning. Had no idea it was happening this morning until I just saw a highlight of a Kike Hernandez.
I'm in that. I love it. I'm going to be real.
This is a football city in a football country.
I love it.
615-737-1045. We'll catch you up on headlines as we begin. NCAA tournament getting started. One game was good. One game was not. That's next. What's up? It's Will Bowling. If you've been looking for cars and see the words buy here, pay here, maybe you have looked elsewhere. And I get it. Most of those dealers, they come with bad reputations. But I'm here to tell you there is one place you can go, Nolensville Road Auto Mart. They're different for a few simple reasons. They have been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. They're Nashville natives that only sell clean title cars, under 12 grand. So if you're new to town and you need a place to trust, they've got you. Or maybe you just need that first car for the new driver in your family. They can do that too. You don't even need to take my word for it. Check out the Google reviews. They are excellent, and that is saying something for a car dealership. One location on Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane. They'll get you in and out in an hour or less. The best part, they're the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville. 615-242-1279. They'll work with your own financing if you got it as well. Flexibility, transparency, and honesty. That's why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Give them a call at 615-242-1279. RKW is brewed by Scooter's Coffee on 104.5 The Zone as we begin your Wednesday morning. Coming up, going to look at the best and worst Titans moves of the offseason. That'll be in hour 3. Rhett Brian at 9, of course, on Wednesday mornings. And Charles Davis of the NFL Network coming up in exactly an hour. If you got a meeting that you can't cancel, it's okay. We forgive you. Go ahead and subscribe to the Ramon Kalen Will podcast feed. Wherever you download podcasts, hit that subscribe button and you will get every conversation right there for your Wednesday. UNC did that thing where everyone talks about how they shouldn't have made the tournament, and then they just absolutely steamrolled San Diego State last night.
Oh, my gosh.
95-68.
Blowout.
RJ Davis, a perfect 6 for 6 from 3.
Yeah, they were, I think they made 14 threes. They had 24 attempts, but obviously hitting from beyond the arc last night, out-rebounded them like 39-28, just dominated on the boards. So it is one of those crapshoot things where you do complain maybe seeing them get in UNC into the play-in despite some of these other teams not getting in. I know West Virginia was kind of mad as well, but you see a blowout like this and you're like, okay, well, at least you know that they made a statement.
Yeah, West Virginia, all you say in that situation is that guy. Like, you got more pressing items to get to than your basketball team. I'm sorry, sir, but no. Yeah, North Carolina, though. I mean, it was the have versus the have-nots last night. Looking at that game, and they were bigger, they were faster, they were stronger. Everything about that game, and they just simply dominated. I think they had San Diego State had under 30 points going into halftime. Like, they absolutely smothered them in that basketball game. And you ask yourself, all right, well, where was this team during the regular season for North Carolina? Like, they didn't get it like that. But you look at the differences in conferences. Yep. This is also why the conversation is always had. You want a blue blood in the championship game. Ron has said that often. Slay has said that often as it pertains to, like.
Who's Ron?
I know, right? I keep dropping his government name like that.
His given Christian name.
It is. Like, Lil Ron is what he is in my phone. But either way, this is why he said, like, the referees understand, like, the stars in March Madness.
Changes the flow of it.
It changes the flow. And, like, North Carolina, nobody wants to see San Diego State like that. I know, what was it? They were in the championship or Final Four a few years back.
Yeah.
But, again, you love the Cinderella until it's time to get serious. And North Carolina showed that last night.
It's so interesting how this always works because there will always be someone who didn't deserve to be in who will win, and the conversation overcorrects. Like, oh, guess they deserve it after all. Well, no, like it's not based on the best teams right now. Right. It's based on the best resumes, which is the same reason why Auburn is not a 5 seed and is the number 1 overall seed, and Florida is not the number 1 overall team.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, because Auburn, if you look at what Auburn did at the end of the year, they skidded. Like, no
lost
ifs, ands, or
3 out of their last 4.
buts about that. Yeah, but it was more so when you looked at the full body of work of Auburn, the teams that they played out of conference and won. Obviously, the SEC schedule that they had that, for the most part, were successful at. But it is weird when you look at down the stretch, maybe they're not playing their best basketball. Now we'll get to see, though, when the tournament starts, is that a reset for teams like that? Is it a reset for teams like North Carolina in the opposite way? Like, that's what's the beauty of March Madness, because it is exactly what it says it is.
What you don't want for Auburn is this. One, being the number 1 overall seed. So speaking as far as being like the SEC representative in this one, for the most part, a lot of people will pick Auburn to win the Natty. What you don't want is what happens to Cal, in the sense to where Bruce Pearl is somewhat asleep at the wheel almost. It's the way it can be perceived. I doubt it, because I feel like he was strategically asked that question after they lost to the Vols.
Great answer.
Hey, are you guys, worried about? And Bruce took his time with that question. It's almost like a setup.
It was funny.
And I text Slay later. I don't know what the hell to call him this morning.
I know.
Come on,
it's
call
all
him.
right.
Kick in, baby. I text Savage, and that was because I like to reference who we're actually speaking of for the people who don't know who Savage is.
You being a bro.
I text Savage, man, and I was just like, Bruce gonna use this press conference, isn't he? Because if they go on to win it, that's going to play, I feel like, the Tim Tebow loss to Ole Miss was played. Like, it was a setup, I feel like, to give Bruce that platform to give that answer. Well, we lost to the Tennessee, we lost to Florida. Like,
Chris Beard had a similar rant, too.
Sure did. Yeah. And you say that to yourself, but then I somewhat look at this situation and say, like, you can lose momentum going into the playoffs. You can like, really get lulled to sleep sometimes. And I don't think that's Auburn case because they got such a veteran team. Janai Broome he's him.
Chad Baker-Mazar is less than a year younger than Luka Doncic.
I know, which is nuts.
Yeah, he's 25.
25.
If you're almost my age,
That's
it's time
old.
to enter the LinkedIn portal.
Did you see him teasing the other day too on social media? I don't know how it came up, but
it's who he
I'm
is.
talking about him coming back again.
It's one of those guys you love to have on your team and you hate to have against.
I'm gonna be like seriously, like, bro, it's time for you to
26,
stop
man.
taking. It's time for you to stop taking laps around the high school. Like, you need to go to college.
Go
now.
run an
Like,
Enterprise rent-a-car in Montgomery.
Please.
There you go.
I'd take all the NIL too
A lot
if I
of
knew
former
I wasn't a
athletes do
high caliber pro player. Like, I get another $500,000. All right, cool. I'll
A
stay.
booster will pay you to go be a CFO or something, or a
He should not be
speaker.
That
side-eyeing
is
coming
wild.
back.
He's 25.
Yeah, he's 25.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
kinda
a
crazy.
year from getting married
great
at that
basketball
time.
player.
I was
really
married.
good player.
I was married.
I was 2 kids in. Like, bro, go create a family.
I was hosting Ramon, Kayla, and Will weekdays from 6 to 10 on 104.5.
Next song, go throw it up real quick there. But seriously, Bruce going to use this, I feel like, as motivation. He's probably
of
going to be
course.
Yeah.
first-round team by 30 points.
It's so interesting, though, the narratives around Bruce Pearl, that he's just this winner in March. Well, he has not made the second weekend of the NCAA tournament since his Final Four run in 2019.
Yeah, it's been
That's-
amazing.
the
Pressure
thing.
will start to mount there if he doesn't reach this team's ceiling. Now, it is Auburn, so the expectations are not as high there as they are at a blue blood program traditionally, but he's had so much success that he has raised the expectations up to a blue blood level. The pressure is not the same because, let's be honest, there are still plenty of Auburn fans out there who could not name you more than 2 players on their basketball team. And that's not a slight. That's just life in the SEC. It takes a long time. It takes generations for you to create deep-rooted love and like a love of the minute details of basketball. And they have a fantastic basketball fan base. Do not hear me when I say, they don't care. Like, no, I'm not saying that. But there are still a lot of people that it's not like UNC. It's not like, Kentucky.
even.
It's not like even Arkansas of the pressure that you have from a historic generational perspective of people that really invest in basketball and obsess over the details.
And
of it.
that's why the SEC is so different too, is because their first investment usually is baseball in the SEC in terms of fan base. Like that's
I wouldn't go
or,
that
sorry,
far.
football. I meant football.
yeah.
Sorry.
I was just like, am I lost?
Baseball's in my mind because we've talked about it. No,
Yeah.
football is always like
Yeah.
the first of mind, right? So basketball, whatever sports, it's always second tier to football. And so the last time I think Auburn, before they got Bruce, was really truly relevant. I mean, you got to go back
Chuck.
to Chuck. You got to go back to Charles Barkley. That's a long time to even say that. So you're right, Will. Like gaining all those fans that actually follow it like football, it takes a minute.
Tennessee had their Admiral Schofield Grant Williams row when I was a senior, and I had a ton of friends who were like, "Man, they're just getting wasted not playing football." It's like, no, they're not.
Oh,
They're
geez.
really like that's okay. They don't. Not every big physical athletic guy has to be a linebacker. Like it's really okay.
Or an edge. Man, Admiral on
Admiral
as a
Schofield
DN,
coming off the
though.
edge. Dang, maybe I'm
telling
wrong.
you.
615-737-1045.
Dude, he was beef.
Is the number, no doubt. No doubt. And Auburn's had some good players, don't get me wrong. The point is more not the prestige of some of the guys that have come through the program. It's more just creating die-hard fans that then put pressure on you when you don't make deep runs.
Yeah.
Hey, dog, that is by far an understated statement this morning. As far as we will turn any basketball player to a football
Well, we
player.
tried to do it with DJ Burns last year, and I'm the one that was like, just let him be a good basketball player. DJ Burns
guy
does
can
not need to
play.
be a left tackle just because he's got fancy footwork down in the low post.
guy
Like,
is so big.
let him go to Italy and put somebody in, or France, put someone in le boom boom room. Like, it doesn't need to be a guy blocking off the edge. Okay, let him go to boom boom room in Italy.
He's
we
in
go
South
to
Korea.
Milano. So, I'm not going to do a South
I
Korean
was just
accent.
going to say, don't even attempt.
Not if you try that
Don't
one.
even attempt.
That one's a little bit more difficult to appropriate and not be
You can
offensive,
speak
so I'm not going to try to do that this
Korean,
morning.
call us up.
There are very important people in town at Cumulus
Yeah.
Nashville this week. I'm not doing that.
Being real though, for
Probably
a while,
already in trouble.
before the portal and before the extension of extra years though? Like, there were numerous basketball players at Tennessee that tried to play football, too. Stanley Asunu's famously
Melvin Goins
came out. That's what I'm saying. Like, famously.
Malachi Weidman, Jeremy Pruitt.
That's what I'm saying. Numerous dudes. Robert Meacham did both.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, Meach did both. Really? Sure did.
See, we should flip this, though, and be like, pick the best Vol football players that would make the great basketball team.
That's how we should,
team? Yeah, and make, because it's not as many guys, so you don't have to think as many.
Yeah.
Just flip it, though, and make, what football players would have made the best Vols basketball team?
What football players would have made the best? I'm throwing out Eric Ainge just because Danny Ainge is his uncle.
I don't know who can shoot is the problem.
Who's a shooter?
I
Meacham
feel like
shoot.
Nico's got to be on there somewhere. I feel like Nico has
Nico's
some
a volleyball
skills.
guy.
I would doubt Nico being a
You
hooper.
don't
I'm going
think
to be
so?
real. Heck, he can probably dunk.
I don't know.
But he's probably a heck of an athlete around the rim.
I can tell you firsthand because I watched him win a state championship. George McIntyre is a heck of a basketball player.
George is a good player.
He is a good player.
Most of the quarterbacks usually are your shooters, though.
Who would be your guard?
Most of you, I mean, Boo Carter right now.
Yeah, Boo Carter.
Boo Carter definitely throw you out there.
Isn't that weird to think about, though?
Who? As far as more times than not, you're supposed to play multiple sports anyway. So I'm into that.
Not
conversation.
anymore. I feel like
you get shut down
everybody's
these
going
days.
like one sport. Like, I don't know
JB
if that's
says
the way to do
Elijah Simmons. Pro Cone Firebird.
Big boy can dunk though.
He was a good thrower in track. I had a couple of his state championships throwing in high school. He's got good footwork.
He could really
that actually
throw
wouldn't
it.
surprise me at all.
He could actually throw it.
No, he really could. He was good.
Man, I was trash at that. I'm gonna be real. Was throwing
you
that
throw?
rock. I did throw.
I never knew that, actually.
Man, I hated track though.
Yeah,
absolutely hated every. You know why?
Relax.
No. Let me say what I hate.
Because eyes were on.
I hated field.
Or
No,
everybody's
it wasn't
off-season sport to stay in shape. It's fine.
My coach begged me to play flex. Okay, begged me to go out there and run. We did that, but he made us do the track like warm up. Like he had the field people warming up with the runners. I was like, why? And then
camaraderie, man. Come on.
I'd never been exposed to a track meet. All I heard in high school is where the fine girls went. Okay, that's all I heard.
Where the fine girls.
Hey, listen.
I mean, the outfits.
You laugh because you know that's the conversation.
No.
You laugh because that's the conversation. But it was just like, all the girls at the track meets. And I was like, okay, cool, we'll go. And then I only did field events. Field events happened when, Will? First.
Not necessarily.
Well, in my era, they did it.
Well, you were going to the wrong track meets.
Well, there it is. And I do my throws, I do the discus, and I throw the shot put, man, and I sit there for like 3.5 hours. And I'm like, this is so dumb.
There's a lot of waiting around in track meets.
You had time to talk to those girls. Come on, what are you talking about?
there's only so many numbers I could write down, okay, before I got caught.
Well, write down yours, okay?
It's a lot of waiting around.
I hated it, man. But, yeah, besides Stanley Asuno, those transition from basketball to football.
For sure.
He didn't last long, though, either.
No,
he didn't last
long.
No,
he didn't. Dang.
Absolutely not.
Josina Anderson last night. I found this at a fast food restaurant that will remain nameless in Cookeville last night, and I had to double check, A, to make sure it was real, and B, to see if anything was really being reported here. I think this warrants at least mentioning from Josina Anderson, who, I'm not being disrespectful here, makes a habit of reporting things but not really reporting them, and just saying, here's what I'm hearing. As a pet peeve of mine, if you're going to report something, stand on it and report it.
Yeah.
This is at least a little bit better than maybe some of the things that she typically puts out there. She says, evening notes. The offseason carousel continues to churn. I was just told these two quarterback names came up in recent preliminary trade inquiries or internal discussions per a league source. Kirk Cousins and Will Levis. She writes, Atlanta has been getting calls and quotes. Said, I heard talk of a third-round pick potentially being actionable.
Oh, gosh.
For that money, I don't see any scenario of that.
What the?
And then there is a comment on Levis that says, the Titans would like to transition. Parentheses, what would the market be, though? Something to monitor. There are always curveballs. You know what? No, this does kind of fill in the
It does kind of fill in. There's not much
we're
there.
reporting things with not really reporting things here. Not exactly big breaking news that the Titans would like to transition away from Will Levis.
I'd say she'd say more about the Atlanta thing. Like, that's more of, she's actually talking about maybe a third-round pick. With Will Levis, I think we all know here that they could transition, or they want to probably transition. We've had these conversations. And I get it. Like, they could be, talking about it. She could be hearing about it. But it's like, she's asking the question, what would the market be? Well, I mean, That's what you're
would love
supposed
the
to tell
answer.
us.
Yeah, right.
That's what you're supposed to
I would
tell
love to
us
have the answer to
as
that,
an
right?
insider.
Somebody in her comments asked a question. I'm assuming you're talking about them in separate occasions and not the Titans interested
Yeah,
in
correct.
their cousin for
That's
it.
what I thought too.
Yeah.
Like I was sleep deprived driving back from Knoxville after doing a baseball game last night. Like the Titans are trading for Kirk Cousins? What?
Yeah.
That's not at all what this was.
Not for a 3. You throw in draft picks and Titans and trade, that doesn't go there. It's not going in the
Are
right
they going to
direction.
trade a
they don't
third
have
round
the
pick
third
for a
round pick.
third straight? It would
Exactly.
be a next year one.
Yeah.
A third round pick for Kirk would be insane, but I don't even know if
crazy.
somebody's that desperate as a team, man.
Oh, the New York Giants, man.
I feel like there always is one.
They are the desperate team.
Man, speaking
They're
of
looking around for track
Yeah.
girls.
that
play
conversation, I was
quarterback.
having that conversation with somebody yesterday, and it was about like, is this a big drum up for the Titans as far as like really doing what you want them to do and making this pick seem very expensive or very one directed as it pertains to Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick, in the Giants. The Giants, to your point, they got to get something. They got to figure it out. That coach knows he's on the hot seat as it pertains to that. And then, of course, their public embarrassment of the Saquon breakdown. Like, that's somewhat looked at as there's somewhat looked as right now a joke to me as far as being serious.
And it's such a big market,
Yeah.
too. I mean, that's the difference between like a team like the Titans and them in terms of scrutiny of the quarterback position or
Absolutely.
the coaching, because they're in the biggest market in the NFL.
They need
So
that.
they're going to get shots fired all the time.
Yeah.
They're the definition of desperation right now.
They are. And then, of course, when you have your son, you know what I'm saying, giving you trade advice based off Madden ratings and stuff like that, like, it really does hit home with that type of operation. Like, you really look like a joke, specifically if you can't find the quarterback, if one won't commit to you at this point, too, because that's the thing about it. They got Russ, they got Aaron Rodgers, and they got the potential to go get a quarterback in the draft. And in that conversation right there, you are the New York Football Giants. In the world of importance, you are it when it comes down to football. You, Green Bay, heck, even the Jets, but they hadn't been relevant like that. But, like, they're a part of that top
Cowboys.
tier. Cowboys, like the Commanders.
Doesn't
like,
make it good. It just makes a lot of people
expect.
smash their televisions at more places around the country when
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
inevitably fall apart.
So that fan base, man, that's bad right now for them to not be able to close.
Sure is. Sure is. New York football not in the best spot
Not in the best spot
at the moment.
And to
New
your
Jersey
point,
football, I should say.
yeah, New Jersey football. I know exactly what that is. But that's pretty sad for them. More so than I feel like the Titans are in this spot.
I got the vibe that the Jets were more Jersey's team and the Giants were more New York's team.
Okay.
I could be
I've
wrong.
seen. That's how I've seen. I've seen
Text
always
from Peyton incoming in 3, 2.
I know, I was going to say, could she confirm this?
They were a Giants family.
They were a Giants fan.
Giants
So
fan.
she's a
Okay.
Yankees fan then. Because those two,
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
in-
exactly.
That's
technically,
so
she doesn't really
interesting how
care.
that
But
happens.
yeah.
it's Jets and Mets and Giants and Yankees.
There, that's
Look,
easy.
if
Jets
Peyton
Mets.
was a real Yankees fan, that would have been a real obstacle in our relationship.
I was going to say, I mean,
She's a
you might
fan
have
of the
thought
distance.
about proposing, you know?
Well, you see the
a
facial
Yankees
hairs
fan.
now. I mean, there's always
That's
that.
fair.
There's always facial. They lost, what's his name,
Groomed
though?
facial
Garrett
hair.
Cole, though, for the season.
Yeah, and Juan Soto is a Met.
Soto's a Met.
Look at us with 2 baseball mentions
Dude,
before
we are
7 a.m.
baseball hot this
And
morning.
we probably going to get a comment from Selly as the Mets fan himself, too. So
Yeah, the
Right.
trumpet
Teron
emojis are
Davenport
dropping in
also.
3.
TD's a big
Big
Mets.
time Mets fan.
Sure is.
Braves still winning the East. Don't worry about it.
Braves get it.
615-737-1045 is our number. There is something Ramon Foster complained about last summer that is being fixed. And we'll talk about it next. RKW brewed by Scooters Coffee with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the app today. Scooters Coffee mobile app, easy to use. You can pay with that. You can order ahead. Save $2 off your first mobile order. Evident Bank Chat open as we stream the show live on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, where we have insightful comments like Jason Dart should go to the Giants.
Jason Dart?
So that's where we've got.
What is that, a new movie star?
Sure. Maybe.
Jason Dart? Jackson Dart.
So that is the conversation that is always self-contained, the F&M Big Chat that you can join anytime. Teresa Walker calling in on the road early this morning, hanging out with us. What's up, Teresa?
Good morning. I don't know how you guys do this on the regular because, my God, trying to hit the road at 5:15. By the way, if you want to get from Franklin into Nashville in 20 minutes, leave your house at 5:15.
Yeah.
I was in Bowling Green in an hour. Times that it usually takes me to get to Bridgestone Arena, Titans, Nissan Stadium during normal traffic in Nashville. So I guess that's one advantage of y'all getting up this early.
You know it.
It's honestly, you get used to it quickly. Like we would go through phases. Like there was an adrenaline boost when you start doing this time slot for like 2 weeks, guys. I'm like, oh, we can do this.
Yeah, for sure.
And then about a month in, you're like, oh no.
Boy.
And then you get used to it after that.
That's where I'm at.
Yep. So you're going to the tournament, T?
I am. I'm on my way to Lexington, and I really want to thank the NCAA committee for sending me Auburn and Tennessee, two teams that I know pretty well, and Wofford, the guy with the the granny Rick Barry style free throw shooter, and Alabama A&M. I mean, the HBCU going up against Auburn, and those guys do not have an easy turnaround because they've got an early game tomorrow at Rupp Arena.
Ooh.
Yeah. They got busy last night too. That went down to the closing seconds of that game. What a finish that was too, T. That was an amazing game for them, and an even bigger year they're having right now too. If I'm not mistaken, they have a tackle that's also going to be drafted this year too. So they got some good stuff going on in Alabama A&M.
Absolutely, and I think they're coached, I haven't double-checked, Tony Madlock, who used to be on Penny Hardaway's staff at Memphis. And don't sleep on the Tigers, guys. The 5 seed is the highest they've had since 2009 when John Calipari was still there before he bolted, like me, to Kentucky.
Yeah, right?
I love it.
Well,
Teresa,
safe,
glad you're hanging out with us this morning, and drive safe. We appreciate you.
My pleasure. You guys take care, and I'm going to go get more caffeine.
Yes,
Absolutely.
go to Scooters if you can on your way back, because I know you probably already passed it. So.
I love it. There's Teresa Walker.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Listening
right
in
there.
and calling in this morning.
If she's in Bowling Green, she's about to hit that highway stretch where it just opens up pretty good. Do not speed. Kentucky, state troopers are right there, I promise you, all right?
It is nice that they do have 3 lanes all the way up.
Exactly.
It's so
That
nice.
is so good.
You don't have people that just sit in the fast lane getting your way. I know that's a big Ramon Foster and Dawn Davenport
Don't
problem.
get me started on
In the
that.
fast lane.
There is something Ramon complained about that is being fixed, is being righted, an injustice. NCAA football, college football players are getting more money for the video game. Did you guys see this yesterday? So the likeness payments are going from $600 to $1,500 for inclusion in the upcoming college football 26 video game. Chris Vanini of The Athletic had the initial story on this. The payment is more than doubled. It is the largest single sport NIL deal ever. EA Sports will spend more than $16.5 million.
Holy smokes. That's a lot of money. I'm not surprised, though, because I think at first when they said the amount last year, we were like, oh, that's all?
Yeah.
So it didn't take long for that to change.
And also, too, there's a bump simply because the sales of that game is through the roof. The popularity of it came right back to where they expected to be at. And then just the fair trade side of stuff, too. Like, that $600 was probably their investment money that they knew they had to pass out to guys. Now they're working with actually a real surge of bread that came in behind us. This is appropriate. It had to be over 1,000 the way I looked at it.
For sure.
1,500 is way better right there. That's how you keep guys encouraged right there. And not just that, you stop people that feel like they have to negotiate on the side when you go ahead and bump the money up. $1,500 just for your name on there, I mean, that's a dub. That's a big-time dub.
What was the price again for the cover?
For the cover, I think they speculated.
I don't think that was put out there.
Was it not? Okay, I'm just
Madden
curious.
for a while was about $350 to like $600,000.
Was it really?
Yeah.
To be on the cover, oh yeah. It's a big deal.
We're on the cover. That's a big time deal. I think the price may be around like $500,000 now for the Madden cover.
It's wild.
College is probably about $150 as well.
I don't know. I mean, they have so many people on the cover that it's a lot of money. That's more money because they put like 5 guys
Different
on it,
people.
including the Michigan running back Donovan Edwards, who had like 600 yards last year.
That didn't work out well.
Crazy. Like Gus Johnson says your name like the Don one time, and then all of a sudden you're on the cover of a video game.
And then
Insane.
you're just running for 600.
Yeah, but that situation right there may have been bottled up in a group agreement where if they use multiple guys, they might not get a separate check because it's full representation of the league. That's one thing you get when you got a CBA is everybody's in the same pot together.
Yeah, 589 yards for Donovan Edwards last year.
That's nice.
I'm impressed I do that off the top of my head.
It's close to 600.
By the way, Alabama State, not Alabama A&M.
Yes.
Oh, my
the
bad.
team
That's on me. That's on me. That's on me.
Actually,
Sorry
Mike
about that.
just called in to keep y'all in check to say that. So I'm
Tip,
glad
my
that you
bad.
corrected
I
yourself.
see that. That's on me. Players mess up.
Just caught it.
But both Alabama State is technically HBCU too, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
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 I mean, I covered them back in the day.
They're the SWAC.
Yeah. They're
Yeah, that's on
nice
me
little
right
school
there.
there.
I'm actually tweeting at
Another
them right
mascot?
now.
That's
That's
all
on
right.
me. Do I
Hornets?
do the Hornets?
Yeah, Hornets.
Absolutely. Saw that last night.
70-68, they get the win last night on a Hail Mary, basically. It's kind of electric.
It's kind of fun. I liked that game. It was so opposite of the UNC game.
You know,
Very different.
Micah Simpson is from Tennessee. He actually is a wide receiver and corner in Tennessee, the guy that was on the end of it. My buddy Rob, 2 straight days, Rob's getting a shout out.
Rob. Shout out, Rob.
I was like, oh, yeah, I interviewed him, like covered him in high school. Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, they couldn't cover him last night because that was a lucky shot that you need to really jump off March Madness, man. What a throw, though. I mean, goodness.
The pride of Morristown, Tennessee, Morristown East High School.
You just know
Nice.
these random places.
I have the internet in front of me. I have the World Wide Web.
You said that before you actually had the answer
No,
to
I
it.
know I did. I knew he was from. I knew he either played at Walter State or was from Morristown, and I figured he's Morristown. Actually, he both. He played at Walter State also. So he's my buddy's the head of media relations at Walter State for the whole school. For the whole athletic
So you
department.
got
So
a
he's
cheat
like, "That's
code.
my guy." And then these are the texts I was reading as I was calling a thrilling baseball game last night.
And it was, too, by the way.
Sure was.
Yeah, finally got the loss out the way. So that's all.
615-737-1045 is our number as we transition to our number 2. A now potentially former Titan is taking a visit elsewhere. What is Dylan Radins' ceiling in the NFL as he visits an NFC team? That's next.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
7:01 from the 104.5 The Zone studios. Good morning. I'm Will Boulding. North Carolina opens up the NCAA tournament with a dominant win over San Diego State in the first four last night. The Tar Heels win at 95-68. RJ Davis scored 26 points and was 6 of 6 from three-point range. That game followed a dramatic finish of the 16-seed matchup as Amar Knox's layup with a second left lifted Alabama State to its first NCAA tournament win on Tuesday night, 70-68 over St. Francis in the matchup of 16 seeds at the first four. They now take on number 1 seed Auburn. In NFL news, the Packers are signing wide receiver Mecole Hardman to a one-year deal, according to multiple reports. Hardman played only 6 games with 2 starts for Kansas City last season, catching 14 passes for 118 yards. And defensive end Brandon Graham announced his retirement on Tuesday after 15 seasons in the NFL. The first-round pick out of Michigan in 2010 spent his entire career in Philly, holding the team record for most regular season games played with 206. He is third all-time in sacks with 76.5. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Brewed by Scooters Coffee for hour number 2. There's locations all around Middle Tennessee. White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll be joined by NFL Network's Charles Davis, breaking down the NFL draft, Cam Ward, what the Titans can do, and the trade market for the number 1 overall pick perhaps as well. NFL Media's Mike Garafolo yesterday says the Seahawks are bringing in former Titans guard Dylan Radins for a visit. Seattle's new run game specialist and assistant O-line coach Justin Alton was with Radins in Tennessee, of course, the last 2 years. Ramon Foster, what is Dylan Radins' ceiling as a pro, and what do you think the market for him will look like as he begins his search for potentially a new home?
Core player is the way I look at him. A guy that's going to have to always prove that he's worthy of what he's been asked to do. And that's where he is right now. I honestly thought he was going to end up getting a first wave free agency. Now the way it's set up, unless they're just trying to alleviate pressure from the cap, he's probably going to end up getting a 1-year deal. Prove himself as a starter. If he can do it again, then you get another shot. Having Alton there is a huge bonus for him because more than anything, he's a guy that can teach him his technique. His ceiling to me is a steady star. He might get in this league 7 to 8 years depending upon health, system, and also his ability to play the game. So fascinating to see him go out west. Is he from that area also too, or closer to the West Coast?
North Dakota State guy.
North Dakota State guy. Yeah. And connection to coaches always matter a good bit anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, that visit doesn't surprise me. The Seahawks are desperate when it comes to their interior.
They've struck out on some guys.
They have. They were going to get Will Free, and Minnesota just paid him more because they were like in on that till the last minute. But John Snyder's catching a lot of heat there, so it doesn't surprise me that they're bringing Dylan Radins in for a visit. I think the biggest thing you have to see from Dylan Radins is consistency. And I'm not going to put it all on him in his career so far because whether it was dealing with an injury or sitting next to an ever-revolving right tackle position this last year or having him come in at times when he was healthy in every other spot, I mean, he's just been a rotating piece, I feel like. And then when they found a place for him last year, the rotating piece was next to him. Yeah. So I almost feel like Dylan Radins can be better than what he's shown, but he's never had the consistency because the consistency around him has not been there, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's 100% correct. I instantly think of another situation. There's been a lot of that conversation of consistency here in Nashville, right? Specifically on the offensive side of the ball. Do you also throw Will Levis in there? I'm not going that route just this morning, but there are careers, man, and watching Tyler Boyd last year or even DeAndre Hopkins. like the inconsistencies of this offense as of late, it kind of has a bunch of these guys in this situation right now. Even Tajay. Tajay, and I think before the season started, was supposed to have a big year, right? Despite Pollard being here, also Tony Pollard being here, he was supposed to have a big year, did not have it. I actually thought of all the linemen last year, Dylan Radins was the most consistent. He dropped his pre-snap penalties down a little bit more too. But to your point about the consistency and what the offense is, he needs a stable ground. I promise you, there's a lot of average or bad players in the league that are on good teams that last because you win.
Well, at 26 years old, I mean, Dan Moore, according to PFF, gave up 12 sacks last year.
Yeah.
But he's a young, moldable offensive lineman who's shown potential and is available.
Yeah.
And that's the thing now with Radins. His availability at 26 years old, a guy that is going to consistently be on the field, to me, he's like a sixth offensive lineman. I think he's obviously a starter in this league, considering he started all of this past season for the Titans. But the guy desperately needs some continuity and consistency in his career.
He totally does. And I do think he can, again, be good if he can stay healthy. Like when he came back from that injury last year, he was super motivated. And you could tell in that locker room, like he was putting in the work. And Bill Callahan said it all the time. I think they really respected Dylan Radins and how he went about his job. It's just a matter of now you just got to be able to stay in one spot and work at that. And I think he was starting to get that, like you mentioned, Mo, last year. It wasn't his fault that right tackle was a complete S show.
Yes, it was.
Crap show.
Yeah.
The irony not lost to me, by the way, that now multiple players that you did not want to come to the Titans, Kayla, are going to Seattle.
Yeah, I know.
You did not want Sam Darnold. That's your quarterback now. And Dylan Radins, who you did not advocate for the Titans to bring back, is visiting the Seahawks.
Well, and I wasn't going to be mad if Dylan Radins came back here. I mean, I didn't say not bring him back. I just said, I don't know if he is the answer in terms of your long-term guy as a starter. And if you could bring him back as a depth piece, but that's not what it's going to be. We all know the price for offensive linemen is precious and everybody needs them. And so you could be kind of a guy that's been inconsistent in his career. And Seattle might go pay him money. Like they're not going to pay him what free.
He missed the first wave.
Yeah, definitely not.
He missed the first wave.
Yeah,
I think he's about a year, $5 million?
Probably.
I doubt it that much.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think that?
Yeah, this late in free agency for me, like the fact that it's been put out there he's going to go visit lets this is an agent push thing. And this is probably, like I said, he's going to have another 1 year prove it before he gets an actual deal.
Right.
It can happen.
Tom Pelissero, just a few minutes ago, writing on Twitter, the Vikings have rejected multiple trade calls on J.J. McCarthy, telling other teams they're moving forward with him as their quarterback. The team plans to add a veteran, but they are not pursuing Aaron Rodgers at this time. McCarthy now enters the offseason as QB1.
Okay, can we just settle this now? Can he go to Pittsburgh and let's be done with this Aaron Rodgers
That's
talk?
not the way he works. No. Okay. This is what everyone who wanted him was signing up for if he had come here too. This is who Aaron Rodgers is.
That's the one no in the free agency this offseason.
Did you hear Cam Hayward?
Oh, yeah. I saw that. He won't volunteer as not hostages.
Yeah.
Mike T made that statement because of the UT Vols on the team too. Just
Look at that.
We want volunteers.
We want volunteers, not hostages. I'm gonna at least claim that because he started saying that while I was there.
You had a lot of UT guys while
you were there. He did have a lot of UT
Justin Hunter,
guys.
Dan McCullers, Jock McClendon.
Exactly. Yes, 100%. It's a good bit of us over there. But that's besides the point. Dobbs was another one. Yeah, Cam was another one.
Cam Sutton.
Yep. Sutton was another one. Yeah, we've been in there deep. Before me, T. Martin.
Yep.
He was also there too with Mike T. But with that being said, that's the only guy I've said no to the entire offseason for any team. Not just for Pittsburgh, but for the Titans too. It's like, no, y'all love who he is, the person, like what he means. Not the player. The player is, in my opinion, not there.
Yeah.
Mine's the flip. I think the player, you could still have him for a year. I don't want the person. I don't want the drama.
So I feel like now in his career, the person is coming first. Aaron Rodgers,
Always does.
Yeah,
he
he's
controls
coming first.
He's
every
consistent.
narrative.
Yeah.
I respect people in life who are at least consistent, even if
He's
they're
that.
consistently annoying. But at least stay on that side.
At least stay on that
And
side.
then he is who he is at this point in his life.
This carousel of quarterback conversation, though, is something I feel like we've never seen before. You got people calling about a former first-round draft pick that hadn't played a rep at all as it pertains to live games, asking to be traded, wanting to trade for him. And on top of that, there's a quarterback draft coming around this year with free agents that have been career starters in Russ, Aaron Rodgers, and who else is out there? Mac Jones is a backup right now.
Yep.
He was a former
San
starter.
Francisco now.
San Francisco is nuts.
I wonder who will be the backup now. Ben Volen putting out there Flacco or Drew Lock would make a lot more sense as a backup for J.J. McCarthy.
Okay.
Would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If I'm Minnesota, though, you're taking a big risk going from a team that was right at the top, competing for the number 1 overall seed, to now going to a quarterback who has never played an NFL snap before on a team that is trying to win now.
You know what's wild about that, though, Will? We had that same thing last year, and then look what happened with Minnesota.
Right, but they had veteran at least stability within that. And
But we
I
didn't
feels
know
like
what Sam
they're
Darnold was going to do.
sure, but I trusted him at the time a lot more than I would trust like Drew Lock to come in. Like
Yeah.
Sam Darnold at least had a nice little run, but a nice little run in Carolina as a starter and showed you flashes. Like Drew Lock's backup quarterback.
I mean, he's a good rapper,
Who?
Drew Lock.
Is he?
It's the Denver bench thing.
Oh, the bench thing. I'm about to say, I didn't know he released an album. I thought he released a track.
That
Kayla.
gift will never get
Never
old.
know.
Yeah, nah, he was going crazy on that young Jesus.
Coming up next, NFL Network's Charles Davis will ask him about the Titans, about Cam Ward, about a ton of burning questions regarding the NFL draft next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Is your home's air conditioning ready to keep up with the warmer months ahead? Well, our friends at Lee Company have you covered. One of their expert technicians will perform a 22-point inspection as well as seasonal cleaning and maintenance to help you stay ahead of Mother Nature. And hey, in Middle Tennessee, spring does not last long. We go quickly to those summer temperatures, so make sure your AC system is ready to go. And Lee Company, as always, if you listen to the station, you listen to me, you know that they've always got great offers for you. Right now, enjoy $30 off your next air conditioning visit. Don't let your AC fail this spring and summer. Call the pros over at Lee Company, 615-567-1000. Head over to leecompany.com to schedule your appointment today. And once again, get $30 off. Get that 22-point inspection as well as seasonal cleaning and maintenance to help you stay ahead of Mother Nature. Head to leecompany.com to schedule your appointment. That's Lee Company, all you need. RKW is brewed by Scooter's Coffee, continuing hour 2 this morning in studio. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling. Very pleased to be joined by the man you hear every weekend with Coach Doug Matthews on Football Saturday. He is NFL Network's Charles Davis, kind enough to give us a few minutes here on this Wednesday morning. Charles, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope the three of you are the same.
Yes, sir.
We are excellent. Charles, there's this growing consensus that it's Cam Ward, the guy for the Titans after some of the trade back rumors have quieted down a little bit. Do you agree that appears to be the next step and the right next step for the Tennessee Titans?
I'll start with you guys are closer to it than I am, so you know better, in terms of what's going on the day-to-day. Is it the right thing? To me, the only way you answer that is if Mike Borgonzi, Chad Brinker, and, of course, Brian Callahan have all said our conviction is that the player we must have at quarterback is Cam Ward. Because if you have conviction on the quarterback, you should take him. That's just how I look at things. If you think that's your guy, you've got to take him. And, those days of long ago of, God, if we get the wrong quarterback, we've set our franchise back 5 years, that's gone. Because you can swing and miss at a quarterback just about every year if you do things right. I think Ramon and I talked about this recently. The Arizona Cardinals moved up from, in the 20s, was it, to 10 to take Josh Rosen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And 1 year later, they took Kyler Murray at 1. And I think that announced to the whole NFL world, oh, yeah, guys, that onerous $50 million guarantee to your number 1 overall quarterback is no longer in play. If you miss and he's not your guy, find a way to get the right guy. So I'm back to what I said before. If their conviction is that Cam Ward is the right guy, they should take him. If their conviction is none of these quarterbacks are truly our quarterback for the future, then they need to keep exploring other opportunities. Although I will say this, from the beginning, I think any of us who looked at this thought to ourselves, this is not 2016, and a king's ransom is not coming their way for the number 1 overall pick. It's not happening.
Right. Charles Davis with us. So when you watch Cam Ward, what are the strengths that you like the most, and what are some of the weaknesses that are going to need to be corrected if he is the guy who steps in right away for this team?
Well, the strengths are the arm can get the ball anywhere, any place, anytime. It can do it from any arm angle. He's like a great shortstop with a big arm from deep in the hole who can make all the throws, whether he's zipping it the second to turn a double play or to beat a runner getting there, or he's getting it all the way over to first base. He can range deep to either side and make the throws. He'll throw across his body. He'll throw with his body. He'll make throws that you don't expect. I'm not going to get into all the look-away passes and all that Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and other people have influenced. But, look, if he thinks a guy's open, he's just going to gun it in there. All right, that he's got great confidence in his arm, and rightly so. He's got that big wing. What you worry about, of course, is the off-platform plays that they don't understand. That's not a play to be made. Because in college, you can probably get away with a lot of them. Remember, there's a good number of us that play in college that don't play in the NFL. Okay, we're going to make really good CPAs. We're going to be tax attorneys. We're going to do all sorts of other things. Heck, we're going to even talk about the game, but we're not going to play in the NFL. Hal Mummy said it a bunch of years ago in Kentucky why he punted the ball out of bounds all the time. He said because the punt returners in the SEC all have NFL next to their name. The guys I have chasing that guy all have CPA next to their name. It's not a fair fight. So in college, we have to remember, even at the highest level, most of the people he's playing against are good college football players. They're not NFL players, so he gets away with more. He's got to harness some of that. He's got to rein that in and understand it and get it right. And one of the things that flashes through my mind is everything you saw last year. How many times did you see the expression on Brian Callahan's face or the fans in the stands doing whatever that expression is when Will Levis made a crazy play?
No doubt.
Does Brian Callahan really want to do that again? He's like, I'm trying to coach that out. So that's the one thing to keep in mind with Cam Ward. I'm not saying it won't get coached out of him. I'm not saying that you coach it totally out of him, because there's times he's going to make a play that you just go, oh, my God. right? Remember that old no. Oh, yes, yes. So that's a part of it too. But I just think that he's a legit item, and he's proved it everywhere he's gone. No one believed in him coming out of school, so he's an incarnate word. Then he's at Washington State in the Pac-12 playing in the Palouse. Then he's at Miami last year, and at each place he got better. So for those who rank him the number one quarterback, I totally understand why.
Our good friend Charles Davis with us this morning. Charles, man, I always got to say go Vols when I see you first, but go Vols.
Absolutely. Big tournaments coming up.
Yes,
so let's
sir.
do it.
Yes, sir. Also with that, man, you mentioned these quarterbacks and changing them out. It's 3 franchises, man, the first 3 that have to pick, Charles. And I feel like the coaches are somewhat on a hot seat in a sense, too, depending upon wins and losses, right? Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland. You look at Brian Callahan here in Nashville, the number 1 overall pick. You also look at Brian Dable. Like, you say you can change out the quarterback if you miss, but what is that, what is that as far as job security for the coaches, or does it matter?
Sometimes, Ramon, as you know, you can draft a rookie quarterback and gain yourself some job security. Yeah. So if ownership believes in you as the head coach and they say, hey, we're gonna draft a rookie quarterback, a lot of times you'll see, or you'll quietly hear, the head coach has got an extension because they believe in him doing that. I don't think in any of these 3 cases we're going to have that. Not always because people don't believe in him. Brian Callahan's just his 2nd year, and it's brand new management. Yes, Chad Brinker was here, but Chad wasn't in control like he is now. So that's different, right? Mark Margonza, his first year as a GM. So there's no extension coming. They all have to prove things to each other, okay? Cleveland, they just got an extension last year. They're not getting an extension this year, okay? All right, that's not happening. And then, of course, obviously, we're talking about the Giants. Well, there's a reason there's no offseason hard knocks this year. We saw what happened. Too much it was great theater for us. But all you hear in the offseason is the man told him twice that Saquon was valuable to them, and they didn't keep him. Now, I still don't think the reason they got rid of him was wrong. It just worked out in the worst possible manner for the Giants. So everybody's like, we're not going to do that. So none of them are in a position where extensions are part of it, even if you get a rookie quarterback. But at the same time, who are they going to play at quarterback? If you're Cleveland right now, who's your starting quarterback in game 1 in September? If you're the Titans, are you starting Will Levis? Do you want to? And then if you flip it over to the Giants, Daniel Jones is long gone. I know Tommy DeVito just got an extension. Okay, that's a fun story. All right. But if you're going to trot him out there on opening day and say he's your guy, then everyone ought to be getting a moving van ready right then and there.
Oh my gosh, Charles. Tony DeVito got an extension. There we go, man. But that being said, as far as valuation goes, Charles, like Travis Hunter has been said to be the best player in college football all year. So much so he won the Heisman. He's top 5 being picked. There's nothing to sniff at. But why isn't he the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, in your opinion?
It's a great question, and here's my theory on it. Part of it is Travis Hunter played a lot of last season in the 170 pounds, high 170 pound range. Yeah. Okay, and as great a player as he is, I think there's a sense that if you put a stopwatch on him, he's not running in the 4.2s or the 4. Is he running in the 4.3s? Wow. Maybe not. He is just a terrific football player. And then, of course, people always get jammed up on where are we going to play him. Well, I think each organization will have a plan for that. You will play him on one side of the football full time with a package or 2 for the other side of the football, and you'll have conviction on it. And everything will settle its way in the first year or 2 in the league about what exactly you're going to do with him. He is a game breaker. We know that. I think that most ownership groups, when they weigh in, will want him to play offense because offense does sell tickets way more than him playing on defense. And if he's a lockdown corner, in most situations you can try to avoid him. On offense, you can get the ball to him a variety of ways. So it's a great question about why he's not number 1. But I think a lot of the reason is because overall, if you're not taking the quarterback, I feel like more people will lean towards Abdul Carter from Penn State as a pass rusher versus a guy, is he a corner, is he a receiver? But you remember Cleveland years ago had that big debate. Do we take Bradley Chubb from NC State as an edge rusher, or do we take Denzel Ward as a corner out of Ohio State? And in most cases, the NFL consensus is always you take the pass rusher. Cleveland fooled us and took the corner. And Greg Williams was their D coordinator at the time. And you remember what Greg Williams said? He's like, hey, in this league, they get rid of it so fast, we're starting to lean towards the cover guy.
Wow.
And that was an interesting thing. Now, was that self-serving for them at that time to take him? Sure it was, to justify your pick. But there is a school of thought that sometimes maybe the pass rusher isn't quite what you're looking for, only because people are so quick getting the ball out of their hands. I don't really subscribe to that theory. I still think they have an effect. Max Crosby's never going to lead the league in sacks, but Max Crosby's always going to lead the league in pressures. And pressures have an effect on him, too.
Charles Davis of the NFL Network joining us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. So the Titans have helped their offensive line, but there are still a lot of holes on this team that they're going to try to continue to address in the draft, Charles. They don't have a third-round pick. What do you do if you're the Titans with that second-round pick right now, at least? Do you go wide receiver, where there's a lot of holes in that room, or do you go edge, where now they don't have Harold Landry? That's a really weak room right now.
Yeah, and a strength of this draft is the D-line, Kayla. I mean, it is a bunch of pass rushing guys, both interior and on the edge. And, you know, every year you're going to have plenty of receivers. That's never going to change because we're playing 7-on-7 pretty much from kindergarten on now. So these kids, we're developing receivers now. Times are different. Growing up for me, runners were the thing. And if you let's just use the great state of Texas. Back then, you pitched the ball to everyone. Now you throw it to them. Imagine that. Texas is developing quarterbacks and receivers. It used to be Texas developed running backs. It's a whole different world now. So I'm looking at it, the strongest position group, I think more options might be at the edge rusher spot. But, of course, they'll get to that spot and see. Now, I do think the Titans probably are talking about, are we able to move back and get more picks? Because this is a roster that just needs people. It needs depth. It needs people at every spot. So are you getting that one guy that's a difference maker that you have to have? Or can you move back on him and pick up an extra and essentially get the same guy? Because I will tell you, I had a GM say to me 2 weeks ago, he said, listen, in this draft, essentially, you start picking around 5, 6, 7. He said, I can go back to 50 to 55, and there's not a whole ton of difference in what I'm going to get. That's what the GM told me.
Wow. Charles Davis joined us this morning of the NFL Network. So kind of in that capacity where we're talking about if they could have the option to trade back, and they do it. Right now, you mentioned the quarterbacks on the roster, Will Levis, also just signed Brandon Allen, which, let's be honest, like, he's a backup, right? I think the biggest thing here, Charles, is people are just – they want to give up on Will Levis because he just hasn't been able to prove he can be a starter. But if that's the case and they trade back, it looks like Will Levis will be the quarterback here. Can he, revive himself, or do you feel like he needs another environment, another team to do that?
No, I think he could do it here. I think the best part about being in Nashville is it's got a very passionate fan base. But it doesn't have a fan base that's going to come off the top rope on you everywhere you go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Will Levis has to hide in his house. I think more people will walk up to Will and go, we're with you, Will. We hope you can get better, even if they walk away muttering under their breath. Mm-hmm. You know, people are a lot nicer, and it's a wonderful thing. It's one of the beautiful things about Nashville and Tennessee. People are going to be much more encouraging. If he were in a different city, it'd be over already, Caleb. It'd be done. But it's not. I think that there's still that opportunity. But obviously, it is obvious. To me, it's all on him. It's up to him to decide how he wants to play this game. And are you going to make the mistakes you made last year? Just think, if he doesn't do what he does against Chicago and the Jets, isn't that weeks 1 and 2, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Think if those things don't happen. We're having an entirely different conversation, I believe, right now. because his season's off to an entirely different start. You're 2-0 to begin the year, first and foremost. Okay? You beat a Chicago team that's coming off a hard knocks with the number one quarterback, and people believe they've got juice. And you just beat Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I think things are different. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they went to the Super Bowl, but I think Will's off to a different start. He's playing differently. It's a different comfort zone. You get my point. I realize it's 2 plays out of all of that, but those were 2 massive plays. And the first time Brian Callahan did it like a TV movie and put his arm around him, come on, kid, we'll get him next time. And the second time, I thought he was going to double suplex it. and you understood both feelings. Yeah. Like, I remember people were giving Brian Callahan grief, and I was like, what?
Right.
What do you mean grief? Did you not see what we just saw? Like, you think he hasn't coached that? Yeah. I realize, coaches tell you all the time, if a guy keeps doing it, that means you haven't coached it enough. That's how they take on their responsibility. Do we totally buy that? The answer is no. At a certain point, either that young man gets it or he doesn't. And that's what Will Levis is working through. So I don't think that it's out of the realm. I think Brian Callahan will coach him hard and continue to coach him well. And I think there's a chance for him to be improved. I think people want to see someone else, and we understand that, because new body means new hope. New person means we have no baggage, means we can get right behind them all the way. I totally get it. But don't be surprised if Will Levis is the quarterback. I'll just put it to you this way. I would not be surprised if he's improved. To what degree remains to be seen. But I think he would be an improved player.
Charles Davis, NFL Network, our guest. You hear him Saturdays with Doug Matthews, Forklift Systems Football Saturdays. Charles, Shedeur Sanders, such an interesting prospect and such a polished prospect in so many ways, but taking the sacks, and then you hear the buzz out of the combine that he's falling. How do you evaluate Shedeur Sanders just as a player, and what does the film show you about him? Because I know a couple weeks ago at NFL.com, your first mock draft, you had the Titans taking him instead of Cam Ward.
Yeah, and you remember what we've talked about. We watched Brian Callahan watch all the errors and off-platform crazy plays and all. Shedeur Sanders does not do that. Does he take a bunch of sacks? He does. His offensive line has been horrendous for 2 years in Colorado. They went from horrendous. Ramon, you're going to have to help here because this is your specialty.
I know.
They went from horrendous 2 years ago to a horrendous plus last year.
Atrocious.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm not putting it all on them, because there's times quarterbacks got to get rid of the football. And in college football, a lot of guys will hold it an extra beat or two thinking they can make a play, even if they're not runners. And that's what I think happened with Shedeur at times. Sometimes I think he needed to see it clean before he threw it. But he does have good anticipation, touch, understanding of the game, all those things. Out of him and Cam Ward, he's clearly a better pocket passer than Cam is. Cam's going to make more off-platform plays, and I think that's where the excitement kicks in. But Shedeur is not a statue back there. And I do think he loves football. I do think that he loves the game. He loves the challenge. He loves the chess match. If you sit down and talk ball with him, you're going to get real football. He's not just out there, just making it all happen like I do on the turkey bowls with my family every Thanksgiving. He can play, which is why I put him at number 1 in my first mock draft. Plus, I knew, would arch some eyebrows. This is what you do in mock drafts early.
Absolutely.
But there's a plausibility to it. Just think of Brian Callahan's face with some of the plays he saw last year. Shedeur Sanders doesn't make those types of plays. That's why I think he's the best pure pocket passer in this draft. Is he the most talented, physically gifted? No, he's not. But as a football player, that's why he and Cam Ward are 1 and 2. Most people have Cam Ward 1, Shedeur Sanders 2. But that's what I see in him. Now, he'll have to learn how to speed things up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He can't sit there and take that many sacks. Caleb Williams learned that lesson last year in Chicago. Shedeur will learn it whether he comes to Nashville or he ends up wherever in the NFL. Things have to happen quicker because you got to help your O-line. Okay, they're doing big work out there.
Our backs hurt,
right?
Yeah, my back is hurting.
Ramon, you can tell the people better. There are times when it looks like it's an offensive lineman's fault. It's the quarterback's fault because instead of setting up where the pocket is established, he gets skittish and sets up deeper.
Yeah.
And now you've screwed up the angle for your offensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And the sack happens and tackle's standing there like, God, you got to block that guy. Well, I did. if he sets up where the pocket's supposed to be. But an offensive lineman, you will never hear an offensive lineman come out in the media, blast their quarterback, and say, if he doesn't start setting up in the right place, that's not what O-linemen do. They suffer in silence. But people who know the game understand your quarterback can help your offensive line, and at times your quarterback will hurt your offensive line.
Dinner's on me, Charles.
Excellent stuff as always with Charles Davis. You hear him calling games for CBS. You hear him on NFL Network breaking down the draft. And, of course, here locally on 104.5 The Zone every weekend with Coach Tuck Matthews. Charles, always great to catch up with you. Really great insight. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Charles.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'm going to go get to work now. You guys give me a lot of work to do. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Charles Davis joining us this morning here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. More reaction to that and more of your reaction. If you heard something you want to lend your voice to, at 615-737-1045 coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Y'all, they have my seal of approval on this deal that could help change your life. Right now, they have the Behind the Lines offer. Listen to it. Yes, it's kind of like the line of scrimmage. They've taken my football number 73 and flipped it to a $37 consultation. That includes a doctor's visit, x-rays if you need them, and your first treatment if you need more in-depth treatment because you're part of the Zone family. They will give you 50% off spinal decompression treatment. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley just want you to get better. It's that simple to them, okay? After speaking with Dr. Ashley, she knows an athlete's body and the trauma your sport or position can cause to your body. And not just that, man, for you active folks that go to the gym or if you're picking up your kids or just, hey, my back just hurts sometimes. Guess what? This is the place where you need to go. They lay you down on a zero-gravity machines. They also have the state-of-the-art spinal decompression machines there, too. Now, here's the best thing about the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They're not just trying to have you keep coming back and back and back. No. They want you healthy, get you out living your best life. It's that simple with them. So you can start your road to a pain-free life, and it is possible by calling today the Wellness Institute of Nashville at 615-246-5009 or go to painisbad.com. It's officially Truck Month at Two Rivers 4, and hot off the press, Two Rivers 4 has announced announced 2.9% financing for 72 months on all remaining 2024 F-150s, which is huge. Yes, go ahead and get you one of those. That's 2.9% APR for 72 months when you finance through Ford Credit. And Two Rivers 4 has got hundreds of trucks, too. They have over 200 F-150s in stock, the largest stock anywhere, and their non-commissioned sales team will make sure you find exactly what you're looking for. Listen, I've gone to the lot too. They do exactly as they say they're going to do. And when it comes to pricing, this is specifically okay to Two Rivers 4. Two Rivers 4 sells at invoice. It's that simple, and that's a great deal. All right, no hassle, no haggling, no bait and switch, none of those things. So you'll get the great price for your new truck from Two Rivers 4 and take advantage of Truck Month savings now through March 31st. It's Truck Month at Two Rivers 4, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Download the RKW podcast wherever you download podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, where you hear every interview, every conversation here on the show. Just search for Ramon, Kayla, and Will wherever you download podcasts. That is where you get Charles Davis. Just a few minutes ago, if you're just hopping in the car, heading to work, and you missed it, you can download that podcast right at the end of the show when it will be posted at 10 a.m. Charles with lots of interesting things to say this morning.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of wanted to bring up the Levis thing, too, because I just want to be prepared and prepare people for whatever scenario could happen, Will, because we could see him draft Cam Ward, which seems to be what they're going to do, but you never know. And if we weren't going to bring up Will Levis, or we were going to ignore the fact that he could possibly be a quarterback moving forward, that would be just stupid, because it's always a possibility.
I don't think it is, but Charles Davis is a lot smarter than me and thinks that he at least could be a success here.
Yeah.
Still.
I actually like that answer. Fans gonna hate it. I like the answer. Just because nothing's fair in the NFL. It's not fair at all. It ain't at all. But those first two games, we spoke about this after the Easton Freeze conversation that Callahan had. You remember how we talked about he brought up those first two games often. Coach Callahan kept bringing up those first two games. And I think in their mind, they had what they pictured that those first 2 weeks was going to go. You were supposed to beat the rookie, right? That's number one. And that system as a second-year guy, I'm dominating you. I don't care who you are as a rookie and what they think of you. You got to get whooped. Didn't happen. Because of him and the block punt. Won't just put that all on him. The block punt played a part into what Levis has played and played. And then the Jets game, home opener. You always got to win the home opener. That team wasn't as strong as we thought. Specifically, that week in general, they weren't. And you could have got Aaron Rodgers. He's right. I do think one or two bad moments. Think about life decisions. This is life to him, like in the football world for Levis. If you start off on a good foot, I promise you, momentum and confidence take you a whole lot further than sometimes your natural ability. So it's an ugly conversation to have. We're having it right now, but Charles ain't wrong in the idea of that, although he did push back and say it'll be hard to send him.
Right.
You would expect a better version of Levis. Like if Sam Darnold got that shot, right? Mac Jones got it last year. It's hard not to make a case
I don't know if
for
Mac
him.
Jones is your best.
I know, but
your
like
best evidence.
It's hard to not make a case for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a possibility because he's still on the roster. And we still don't know 100% what they're going to do. And they only made one move at quarterback in terms of Brandon Allen. And I'm sorry, what the hell does that tell us? Not much. Tells me he's a backup and you still need a starter.
That's true. But if one or two guys go down, he's going to have to hop in as a backup. But, like, he can play NFL quarterback is what he is, Brandon Allen.
To me, he's like just an extension of the coaching staff.
Yeah.
I know. We had that
because he knows the
day.
system and he's done it. Like, Brandon Allen is not someone that's going to come in and start like 4 games in a row if you needed someone to.
Right.
He's not even really Mason Rudolph level.
Right.
No, I agree.
As a backup quarterback.
I'm with you on that. And they tried to possibly get Mason Rudolph to come back here. And Mason said, I'd
they're
rather
open
go
to
to
it.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Not sure which offers were on the table for him, if the Titans ever officially extended one. Which, by the way, there's reporting this morning that as the Steelers wait, they're saying they would be willing to start Mason Rudolph if they need to.
Wow.
This season if Aaron Rodgers does not pick them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which means, hey, Aaron, hurry up. We're waiting, is all that means.
It is.
They're not going to start Mason Rudolph. I'd be shocked if that happened. The Levis conversation is interesting. I completely agree with Charles's point about this fan base not being as toxic towards him as a lot of other ones would. And people hear that and feel disrespected, but that's not meant as a disrespect. It's actually meant as a compliment, I think. Like if Will Levis was a Philadelphia Eagle,
Oh,
he ain't showing his face.
he'd be cooked.
He's moving
Yeah.
to a different place outside of the season. And I know he's obviously worked outside Nashville as well, but I don't know. I think things are over for Will Levis here. I think there's no coming back. And I think that he is so far a departure from what Brian Callahan wants his quarterback to be that we're past the point of no return, personally.
Yeah. I get it.
So I think the system fit is, again, why, like, it's not going to happen. He was not brought here by Brian Callahan to run a get the ball out quick, point A to point B offense. He was the action figure that was supposed to throw deep play action passes for a Mike Vrabel team on runs set up by Derrick Henry because there's opportunities to be had over the top of the defense at that point. Like, he's just not. He's not what Brian Callahan wants in a quarterback. He's not even close to it.
Well, here's the thing. What if they have no choice?
Well, you do have a choice. You have the number 1 overall pick. You've got Cam Ward sitting there. So the hypothetical of having no choice that's not true.
What if Callahan? No. What if just Callahan gets outvoted as far as the quarterback?
Well, that I do feel can happen.
That's probably happening.
I do feel like that can happen. Even with Cam, I'm going to say this. I think even with Cam Ward, and you heard Charles Davis just say, talking about Cam Ward, Brian Callahan in his mind is like, oh gosh, if he can't fix those turnover issues, then it's just like thinking about, oh gosh, do we have Will again? And I thought in that moment, I was like, yeah, that could be a thing, although I feel he can fix certain things. In Callahan's mind, though, it's like PTSD. But guess what? Callahan, I don't think has a final decision.
He's not the GM.
So that doesn't matter.
Hey, he's not in charge.
So that's why to me the Levis conversation isn't as far-fetched as we want it to be. Like, yeah, you don't want him out there. You've seen enough for most folks. But have you? Do the coaching staff really feel that way? Like, it's a bunch of hypotheticals that we're going through right now. But what most teams and coaches and GMs going to tell you, he's on roster. Like, what if you can't move and you're just simply going to cut him? Because you do need 3 quarterbacks, essentially. And Levis is his second year being in this system.
And what if the Giants do give them something that they agreed to in terms of trading down? That's also not Callahan's option either, because Borgonzi's trying to build for the future.
Exactly. So the reality of it is a lot of folks don't want this. But Borgonzi and Chad and let's just stay right there. They the ones that got to make the big decisions for the betterment of the team.
If you like the quarterback, doesn't matter what the Giants call you for.
Yeah.
If you like the quarterback, draft the quarterback. And I think they like the quarterback from the buzz we are starting to hear out of their camp. All the national analysts are agreeing that the Cam Ward buzz is growing. They are either taking Cam Ward or they really want to lie to us for some reason. One of those two things true at this point as of March 19th. It's March 19th.
I know, right?
615-737-1045 is our number. We'll catch you up on the headlines as we begin hour 3. The NCAA tournament, electric, last night. Josina Anderson with a report that's not really a report out there about Will Levis. We'll catch you up on all of it next.
Hey, living in Nashville is awesome and busy as well. And you got a lot of things to choose from. Sometimes that means you need to choose someone that you trust. And I've got a real estate agent that you need to check out. My friend Bernie Gallerani. You can trust him when it comes to selling or buying your home. He knows the neighborhoods. He cares about your buying and selling goals. In fact, he's going to guarantee to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he's just going to buy it from you. Selling a home can be stressful, especially in a slow market, but Elizabeth found out firsthand what happens when you have the right real estate expert on your side. After months of having listed her fiance's condo with no results, it actually sold at full price in 5 days when Bernie Gallerani Real Estate took it over. So when it was time to sell her home, Elizabeth knew exactly who to call. Bernie is the only real estate agent in Nashville recommended by Barbara Corcoran to Shark Tank, the only agent I would trust to sell my home. So give Bernie a call on his cell phone, 615-428-2644. That's 615-428-2644, or go to BernieGallerani.com.
It is 8:02. Good morning for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Will Bowling. North Carolina, the team that nobody thought should have been in the tournament, they get a win last night at the NCAA tournament, 95-68 over San Diego State in the first four in Dayton. R.J. Davis leads the way, 26 points, 6 of 6 from three. The Tar Heels get Ole Miss now, the 6th seed, up next. That game followed a dramatic finish of the 16-seed matchup as St. Francis falls in dramatic fashion to Alabama State, 70-68. Amar Knox's layup with a second left. The difference, now they will get Auburn. In NFL news, the Packers are signing wide receiver Mecole Hardman to a one-year deal, according to multiple reports. Hardman played only 6 games with 2 starts, catching 14 passes for 118 yards last season for Kansas City. And Philadelphia Eagles legend Brandon Graham announced his retirement Tuesday after 15 seasons, all with Philly in the NFL. The former first-round pick out of Michigan in 2010 holds the team record for most regular season games played with 206. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. RKW brewed up by Scooter's Coffee, a fresh hour, hot and ready for you. And that Scooter's Coffee, all around Middle Tennessee, it will kickstart your day in the best way. Download the Scooter's Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. I got a waffle bite yesterday. That sausage, egg, and cheese with that maple waffle sandwich. The waffle was warm. The breakfast was hot. The cinnamon roll warmed up. Fantastic with a caramelicious blend of coffee. We got Scooter Doodle going in here this morning, a fresh pot of it getting ready. Bam has tweeted at us a second straight day.
Let's go,
and says,
Bam.
You guys have gotten me hooked on Scooter's Coffee. This stuff is so good.
See?
And you are so right.
I love to hear it from the people, actually. Like, it's one thing for us to say it because they're like, oh, they're sponsored by them. No, but we truly love it. And now we're getting the people on scooters.
It's good stuff.
One word for you. Fi. That's all you got to say.
Rhett Brian coming up at 9 o'clock this morning. In 15 minutes, we're going to tell you our favorite and least favorite Titans moves that they have made over this offseason. Your thoughts in the F&M Bank chat on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Josina Anderson, late last night on Twitter, 9 o'clock, posts the following. I was told that 2 quarterback names came up in recent preliminary trade inquiries or internal discussions. Per a league source, Kirk Cousins and Will Levis, meaning separate trade conversations, not one for the other. Saying Atlanta has been getting calls. Josina Anderson says heard of a third-round pick being potentially actionable. And then saying the Titans would like to transition. The quote given, parentheses, what would the market be, though? Well, Josina, it's your job to tell us.
Exactly.
But we'll at least take this for what it is. Another Josina Anderson non-report report that maybe gives us some insight. Guys, do you take anything meaningful away from this?
I take away more from the Atlanta report that Kirk Cousins could be, in the mix possibly for a trade because at least they're given like what they're looking for, like a 3rd-round pick, which I think is wild, but whatever. With the Will Levis stuff, I think the only thing I take from it, guys, is if it's out there, if she's heard some rumblings, there is talk possibly of Will Levis in the trade market. And we've come up with that before. We said, well, they could possibly trade him, but it's not like we had a source saying that to us. It's out there, I believe, but I don't think anything is certain right now. I mean, it doesn't really tell us much.
Right. I guess my follow-up question would be to Josina, as far as where did your Will Levis conversation come from? Did it come from the Titans?
Exactly.
Or is it somebody that's inquiring about Will Levis and wanting him to be traded?
I think it's most likely another executive from a different team thinking like, yeah, I think the Titans would probably want to move on. Mm-hmm. And that's probably all this is.
Yeah.
Is connecting the same dots that all of us are connecting publicly. That like, well, yeah, considering what they've done, I think they'd like to transition away from him.
You want to know why I think that too? Because this organization has been so tight-lipped, and we've said that. And they're not going to show any of their cards until they absolutely have to. They've been doing it the whole time. We've barely been able to understand what they're doing. Like, if one move happens, we're still questioning. Like, so I don't think it was from Titans camp.
Yeah,
I wouldn't bet on that.
But even still, that's good news for the Titans. That somebody speaking of your quarterback in that sense, as it pertains to, him being traded. I don't necessarily think that. Yeah, no doubt. I don't think you're necessarily allowing Will Levis just walk away unless you have your guy. Will Levis is disgruntled, and he's not been a good teammate, which I doubt. But this is good news if it came from outside the building. I just wonder what the cost is. At this point, I feel like Levis is a 7th.
Yeah.
If Malik Willis is a 7, then Levis has got to be a 6.
Not really. No, I actually push back on that one, just on the basis of Will Levis is going to bring you a bunch of noise. One, the fan base, in a sense, he's Mayo boy to this fan base. He's an adjective. He's a verb at this point. You just got Levis. Think about that. There's a lot of rehab that has to happen to him going to other places. And the other part, too, he's got strong ambitions on being a starter. I feel like his situation is way different than what Kenny Pickett's was. Kenny Pickett had years of failure before he actually got booted out of Pittsburgh. Will Levis has only had one, and it was still incomplete. He was under the veil of the Miami game. Well, he's more injured than anything. He couldn't go back in. And then you also had the idea of Mason Rudolph come behind him and didn't light the world on fire, too. So you live that world to say to yourself, Will Levis, it's hard to put him above and beyond at this point.
You know what's funny, Ramon, though, with that is those are all the things we describe him as, and that's who we think of Will Levis is. You remember throughout the season, people just seem to not understand what's going on in Nashville sometimes. And sometimes the narrative is different when they're outside of this city. And deservingly so. They're not in it every day like we are. Right. But do you think there is a organization or a team that could be wanting to fix Will Levis? And if so, I'm just curious who it could be at this point if they want to give anything better than a 7th, because at this point it looks like he's just going to be a backup.
Yeah.
But is a backup worth a 6th-round pick? And an unproven one even? I don't know.
There's so many log jams at the quarterback position, I feel like, too, right
Uncertainties.
now. That's the part that gets you. You're looking at San Francisco situation. They got 2 guys that were, one's been a starter in Brock Purdy and another's a former first rounder. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville. Do you send him to Jacksonville within the conference? It's Washington. Can he fit that system?
Because he'd reunite with Liam Cohen.
Exactly. That's part of it, too, 100%. But in what role?
It's obvious a backup there.
Just quarterback 2 at this point.
Yeah, I think so. Unless you're one of these teams that need a starter right now and you're that desperate. That's not happening.
Doing that.
No.
I would have saw him going to New England before anywhere, but they ain't got no. They have their quarterback.
Yeah. To me, the most likely scenario for Levis is I think the best you could get is a 6, straight up. Or I think you could trade a 6 and Levis for a 5 and move up maybe 30, 40 spots. Mm-hmm. When the Eagles did trade for Kenny Pickett, they moved up basically 22 spots in the draft. So they traded, and they got 2 future 7ths. So the Eagles, when they acquired Kenny Pickett, I'm not talking about the trade they just sent him to the Browns for, because if we're making the comparison on Levis, that's, first trade, first move away. That's the comp, right? They moved up 2024 4th-round pick in exchange for a 3rd and a pair of 7ths. So they sent their 4th for a 3rd and a pair of 7ths to get rid of Kenny Pickett. I think people undersell how bad Malik Willis was here before he got traded, though. His stock was so low. Will Levis has at least won a football game as a starting quarterback. Malik Willis had not when he was here. He was terrible. He 50% completion, no touchdowns, 3 picks. I know Levis brings a lot more. Your point is very valid. But to me, he has got a lot more pro-style projectability because we've seen it more than we did with Malik, and Malik still got him a 7.
What I'll say, Will, about that, though, is also I think timing was right for Malik Willis. I hate hearing that in my career. That's all I've ever heard. Well, timing is everything. Well, guess what? It is. And in terms of Malik Willis, it was, because in the preseason, he gave himself a chance for teams to look at him. By the way, Bryce Oliver helped him out a lot in that aspect too. But I think it was the perfect time for Green Bay to look at what they needed and what could fit. And Malik was playing really well for the most part in the preseason. And so I think it just worked for those two teams to make it happen. And plus the familiarity with Chad Brinker in Green Bay. Yeah. But I think timing in these situations, it is kind of everything. So I don't know if we'll see Will go now or if we'll wait till training camp and maybe he shows out a little.
I would prefer to wait till training camp because I think his stock will never be lower than it is right now.
That's where I am with it. I feel like Levis is a training camp trade. Like I said, they're going to have to put lipstick on him and just put him out and take him a shower and everything's the way that one's going to, in my opinion. I feel like there wasn't as much exposure to Malik than it was to Levis at this point.
Because right now, yes, 7th round pick is all he's worth.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. Mm-hmm. Like as of today, if he shows improvement in training camp, then we're talking about price rising and being able to, to add to that. Pat on Facebook Live says, didn't Malik get a win as a starter against the Chiefs? Don't believe so. 2022?
Is he talking about the Titans or?
That was a loss.
Yeah, the Chiefs game was not a win. If you're thinking of 2023.
But he did torch the Titans. You're exactly right, Keith.
He did.
When he came back here last year.
No, he looked damn good.
That was wild, you guys. Because I remember the talk in the locker room on that week is like, oh, you're familiar with, with Malik and all. I mean, he came out here and torched that defense.
Yeah,
Malik in that game against Kansas City where the Titans lost in overtime was 5 of 16 for 80 yards. 5 of 16 for 80 yards.
Yeah, we got to stop doing this shit.
I mean, this is 2 years removed.
I mean, what are we?
Out of respect for Malik.
He was 6 of 10 for 55 yards and an interception against the Texans where the Titans won 17-10. So that was the win that he was involved in, yes. But again, like 6 of 10 for 55 yards. What was he really involved in?
What was the rushing that game?
And he still
I felt
got
like it was a big rush game. I felt like
he had
defense.
5 carries for 12 yards.
I was speaking about the running backs.
I'll look. I've got it pulled up.
Yeah.
Titans in that game, that was a 17 win over the 1-5-1 Texans. And Derrick Henry in that game rushed 32 times for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that game.
Those were the days.
And also, that was, throw this in there right quick, was it also Houston at a point where they were strategically trying to lose?
Lovie Smith wasn't, but maybe everyone else was.
Wasn't. You're right. You're right about that.
615-737-1045. All that being said, you could get something for Will Levis. Absolutely.
Yes.
No doubt about it. What is your favorite and least favorite decision the Tennessee Titans have made this offseason? We'll give you ours next.
It's Ramon Foster, Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people. They've been here since 1990, yes, and our family-owned and operated. Man, Jimmy Hiller, speaking of ownership, was recently named amongst one of the most admired CEOs, and it's because of how he truly cares for his team and his clients. Hiller takes care of the customer on every job, every single time, and they stand by their work. So much so that their guarantee is this, man. Happy you'll be or the service is free. Yes, free is what they promise you if you're not happy with their service, man. They will make it right each and every time. Hiller's best attribute to me, besides that, is a true transparency pricing. What that means is this. Every part of the job is told to you up front, so homeowners can easily understand what they're paying for and why. No hidden fees, no added costs, no surprises when you get your bill. It's simply what you've asked for is what they will do. So whether you need some plumbing done, heating and cooling, or electrical, man, reach out to the people that I trust and also use myself with Hiller, man. Go to their website at happyhiller.com.
RKW is brewed up by Scooter's Coffee as Hour 3 continues. We'll have Rhett Brian in studio breaking down NFL draft running backs coming up with us at 9 o'clock. 615-737-1045. We're talking best and not so best moves from your Tennessee Titans this offseason. What is your favorite decision that the Titans have made? Let's y'all want to start with the bad news first.
Bad
Where
news.
we at with this one? Let's start with bad news.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite thing the Titans have done this offseason? Any decision they've made?
Any decision? It's the lack of wide receiver help, and I know there wasn't much you could go get, but that we've spoken as a show, as a station, as a city. Right? We've spoken heavily about the quarterback play. We've spoken heavily about the offense. We've spoken heavily about all things involved with this offense. Yeah. And neither one of those things, I think, this year has had an upgraded wide receiver in respect to Van Jefferson and everybody else that's already in that building. How can you ask a quarterback, any of them, whether that be Levis, Brandon Allen, Cam Ward, Shador, or Jackson Dart? I just wanted to pause on Jackson.
I know. I forgot to ask
Jason Dart?
Charles.
Jason Dart.
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley, too.
Or Jalen Monroe. We've had that one in the
That's
FNF
about
chat
it.
this morning
Yeah.
as well.
Jalen
There's been
Monroe
some
in
different
there.
names in here.
But Joe Milton at this point too. But they want a third round pick for him. It's nuts. But
No shot.
That was. I saw that rumor yesterday. But either way, whether it's true or false,
That was probably an Ari Myrov either aggregated
I didn't
or
have
made
that
up
one.
story.
It wasn't him. It was somebody else. With that being said, though, a good quarterback is made great by the weapons that he has. And right now, like I said, out of respect for the guys that are pros on this team, who, besides Calvin Ridley, that they can double team or they can put their best corner on, can get open enough for you to make the quarterback look that much better. Now, quarterback can make a wide receiver good, but that's yet to be proven by Levis, Brandon Allen, or depending on what rookie you bring in, too. That's problematic for me, the lack of aggressiveness in the market that you could have at least tried to go get somebody to make this offense that much better.
Who's the somebody that you feel like would have been the right fit there?
I said it's unfair. I said it's very unfair. Do you try to go get a Devontae Adams, right?
Oof. At that price, at that age, I mean, you could try to, but does Devontae Adams want to be a Titan at this point in his career?
That's a big part of it, too. So
probably not.
The answer is, Will, I don't have an answer. It's just it sucks that whoever's going to be manning the quarterback position in Tennessee won't have the talent that you need to, and specifically being able to draft a second-round pick. Do you continually want to go offense? Like you need to do this over and over again, and it's never a good place to be.
Yeah, I mean, mine was Van Jefferson, and no slight against the, young man that lives here and is from here. And he won a Super Bowl. Like, he's done some great things in his career. I just think for what the Titans don't have right now in that room, like, this was so underwhelming. And again, it might just be a depth type of player, because I look at just the numbers of what have you done for me lately. And last year, 24 passes, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, it just, for what they need, I just didn't see him as being a big addition to that room. I would have at least liked a Elijah Moore or something. And again, they have to want to come here too. And I get that. He's from here. But it did not move the needle at all, considering you didn't bring back Nick Westbrook-Akine and you have a lot of unproven young talent in that room. And I get it. Bryce Oliver, I'm on the train. I think he can be really good at some point. But you have to help your quarterback, whoever that might be. And I just don't think there's been any help added at that spot. So that leaves me to believe that they're going to rely heavily in the draft at this point. And that's scary too.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a different boat than both of you guys on wide receiver. I'm just glad they didn't spend $10 million on De'Ami Brown. To be honest with you, because I don't see anyone else they could have gotten that would have really fixed the problem. Like Josh Palmer, okay, but do you really want to commit 3 years and close to $10 million a year for Josh Palmer? No, I really don't.
You make Calvin Ridley the number one then, though.
You do, but do I want a body or do I want someone that's going to make the room better? Because right now, the only guys that were available to you to sign this offseason are just guys.
They are.
There's no one that really makes you better unless Stephon Diggs is somehow a dude coming off an ACL or, some of these veterans have a revival. I'm interested in Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
The Titans aren't the profile of team that old wide receivers typically want to go to, though. They don't have a quarterback, and they don't really have a lot of hope to compete in 2025. That's not conducive for a receiver that has his best days in front of him. That's conducive for someone who is over the hill, overpriced, and probably not durable enough to play. And we know from this organization and the moves they've made how much they value durability. I don't know what else they could have done. Look, I don't like where they are at receiver either, but I can't give you tangible, other than I would have rather had NWI than Van Jefferson.
Right.
I can't give you like a strong, they should have done this instead argument. So that's why the Van Jefferson move is a $2 million move.
And it don't hurt you.
But you just said your least favorite, and that just, to me, that was underwhelming.
And I'm not over the top on like dogging Van Jefferson is what I'm saying. I'm just saying, and
you've both been very fair. I just disagree.
It's just at my point that the wide receiver room is at this spot.
100%.
Exactly.
I agree with you.
As far as free agency moves, like the fact that it's here.
Right.
That's what bothers me.
And that just doesn't move the needle. And I know not everything is going to move the needle, but that is a spot that needs to try to, at some point, move the needle. And right now, I don't know how they're going to get there. And you're right. That wasn't a great free agency class either in terms of wide receivers.
Titans made a signing.
Oh, okay.
Julius Chestnut is back.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Not groundbreaking news, but Titans are re-signing Julius Chestnut to a 1-year deal, according to Tom Pelissero, a special teams contributor,
I'm fine with
kick
that.
return specialist, made appearances in all 17 games. And then, of course, Pelissero tells us who his agent is and who negotiated it.
I balled up my fist when you made that announcement right there.
Made what announcement?
I did that. I thought we actually.
Well,
I know,
if
he's
it had been groundbreaking news, we would have had the laser light show, as Buck calls it. All I did was raise my hand and give you the analysis. Now we'll move on.
Okay. All right, for sure. I appreciate it. Shout out to Julius, though.
Yeah,
There
when
you
he
go.
was
Good
called
for him.
on, he did his job.
Yeah, he
you
did.
know?
Absolutely.
The thing about
I
Van
know.
Jefferson to me, if that signing is for him to be wide receiver 3, then I agree. It's a bad decision. But it's March 19th.
I know.
I just think he's just a body that was cheap that you just throw in there that's willing to play for you.
Right.
And at this point, that's all it is to me.
And I just don't even know. We haven't even mentioned Treylon Burks. Y'all, he is also still on the roster. And that is wild to think about. That is maddening.
Well, what else do you want him to do, though? Like, they're not going to cut him yet.
I know, but it's just like we're not even talking about him in the receiver room.
Well,
That's
he's
what's
never
so
available.
Funny.
So
it's like he is technically on the roster, but I don't even think. I mean, I'm telling myself, I keep forgetting that he's on the roster because it's that bad.
He doesn't contribute much.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
bad.
I'm with you in what you mean, but he ain't giving us anything.
I am struggling to understand giving Cody Barton $21 million. That is my least favorite move. I don't get it. That's too much money to me. 28-year-old, played in 17 games last year. I mean, 106 tackles, 2 picks, sack and a half. That's pretty rich for a guy who I think is a bit of a one-trick pony as a run stopper that doesn't offer you a ton in coverage. To me, that just doesn't add up. It's my least favorite thing they've done this offseason.
And they essentially transferred money too. I mean, what Kenneth Murray was getting in partial Cheeto is what they made his deal out of.
It's not something that I think is, they deserve to be just totally roasted for. Like, it has potential, I guess.
Would you call him consistent?
I mean, is that what he's getting? Consistently available. I just don't think he's that good.
Okay.
When you had other options available that, I don't know, like we talked about the Tyrell Dodson part of it. Nick Bolton never got to free agency. To me, they are really emphasizing, like, we would rather have you on the field, even if you are not perfect, than a replacement level player who is far from perfect.
Yeah.
And Cody Barton plays. So to me, he feels like a maybe better version of Kenneth Murray, just in terms of the mistakes he makes. Like when Kenneth Murray got beat last year, he got beat bad.
Yeah, you saw it.
And the athleticism is what it is, and he's former first-round pick. I get all that thing, but I don't know. I think that's a lot of investment into a guy that is not overly impressive, in my opinion.
I get that. And then the price of it, too. And then you're locked into him with at least 2 years, right?
Yeah.
But it goes down to me, I feel like it's the availability side of things.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but run defense-wise, PFF had him ranked 28th out of 189 linebackers last year and liked him. Like, he is a 3-down linebacker. Yeah. He is not going to come off the field on third downs, barring some kind of major change. So The linebacker position is a worry for me as of today. I think more so than it is for most people. I'm not willing to give Otis Reese or James Williams or Chance Campbell off an injury the keys to playing next to Cody Barton. They need another inside linebacker, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Positivity, though. We got the negativity out of the way. What is the best decision the Titans have made? I think this is easy.
The best decision? I'm going to go opposite of what I know you're about to do.
I know. That's why I was going to go opposite,
I'm going to go
too.
Dan Moore signing.
Okay.
For this particular reason. You solve two problems. You get JC over on the side. Everybody thought he should have been at anyway. He was forced to play left tackle last year, and I think he would have tried to fully buy in all of this offseason. But now you have the ability to get, for the next few years, 3 of your 5. I've always said 3 of your 5. And that 3 is Peter, JC, and Dan locked in. And I want to believe in Lloyd being able to get all the way back, but their Achilles is so tricky for a big. And I'm not denying Lloyd Cushenberry at center. But the 3 that I've always mentioned is, to me, having Dan locked in for a few years, JC, and also Peter Skoronski. You have those guys for years if everything goes right in your mind. And I love the idea of you being able to say, that's settled, that part of it.
I understand. I think we all can agree Kevin Zeitler will be like the glaring favorite for many. But I'll go opposite on some of these too, and I'll go defense. I actually really like, while it doesn't solve the edge problem in terms of overall, I do think it gives them, in terms of a 1-year deal, a good option at being able to be a versatile guy who can play inside and out, and that's Draymond Jones. I think you got him here for a 1-year deal. He can even prove it if he wants to. I know it doesn't overly solve the edge spot.
Right.
I don't think you can put him primarily at the edge, but I do think it gives you options in Denard Wilson's defense of how you can utilize him. I think that he fits here. So I do like that signing, again, because it's not a long-term signing, and you can use him in different ways. So I think that was a value signing.
I agree. I think he's another Danico Autry that you didn't really replace last year.
Right.
No, you did not.
When you lost him.
No, you did not. I like that signing, too, specifically for it being a 1 year.
Yeah.
You get an opportunity to make him prove it. But here's the only other part I have about him, though. Am I playing him at defensive end? I view Draymond Jones, in my opinion, if I was watching tape on him to go against him, as a 3-technique nickel D tackle.
Yeah.
More than a 4-3 D end.
Right.
Yeah. That's the only contingency I have on that, which makes me think or hope that there's one more answer for outside edge.
There has
There's
to
going
be.
to be 2.
Yeah, seriously.
I agree.
Because on paper, the structure of the Titans defense, is it a 3-4? That's what I'm about. Or is it a 4-3?
They were in nickel so much last year. It's almost like, and that seems to be more common now in the NFL as teams start throwing it so much more, is that defenses are in their nickel set kind of as their base defense.
It has them as a 4-3. They're a 4-3 team. But you're right.
Right. He's 6'3", 281. The front multiplicity, valuable.
Yes,
A guy that can put his hand in the dirt and, rush up the middle. And again, someone who can be on the outside as an edge if you need him to be, no doubt. And two, I think PFF does not like his run defense grade, but you talk about getting a bigger body and a guy that can set the edge in a more significant way, that will help your run defense overall as a unit, just having more of a space eater on the edge, right?
Absolutely.
That's what you get, 100%.
Sure.
Somebody said, turn the defense back to Devondre and Jeff up the middle.
And
Yes, and
you
Sebastian
do. You
Joseph.
have some really good
Yeah.
run stoppers already.
And his
right?
TFLs are elite. He gets in the backfield often. He's a disruptor.
To me, it's got to be Kevin Zeitler. I've been on this train for months. That was on my wish list for the Titans, and someone who I think teaches young offensive linemen how to be pros. I think Peter Skoronski really benefits from Kevin Zeitler being in that room. I think J.C. Latham benefits more than anybody on the roster from having a pro not only playing next to him as he makes the switch back to right tackle, but someone who is still very productive, very available. Just missed the one game last year at the very end of the season. Zeitler, a good pass protector at this point in his career. There is a very high floor for what Kevin Zeitler is going to give you, and he's going to give you a level of professionalism and leadership that this locker room has desperately needed since, the exodus of last offseason. So you get someone who's going to give a crap. And that, to me, is one of my big questions when you bring guys in on 1-year deals. Are you going to invest in this franchise and in this locker room the way you would in a 4-year deal? Right. I think Kevin Zeitler, at this point of his career, has proven that he will absolutely be a cultural fit. I think culture is often overvalued. I think it's a buzzword that we as fans often don't understand and we just use to sound smart. But I think for this team right now, it is not overvalued. No. I think culture is very important for this locker room and this team right now.
Leadership in general on the offensive side has not been there. And just adding a guy like that, like you said, who's done it, he's a dog, like I think they look up to guys like him in terms of he's a little different from Lloyd. Lloyd's not as vocal, maybe, right, but he's still a leader. But this brings a whole nother level. And Dan Moore, just because he's not old, he's been playing in the league for a while with the Steelers. Oh. I mean, you're coming from another cultural type of place. So I like what they've added on the line.
You guys know how I feel about the culture conversation. Yes, it's valuable. That. Yes, it matters. Sometimes I think it can be overblown.
Yeah.
Outside of locker rooms.
What is the offensive culture, though?
We don't know yet.
On having to get one.
I think you bring in a guy like that to help set it from the inside out.
Yeah.
And let the culture of the team begin with the big guys, which is the way you have success in this sport at any level.
That's where, honestly, taking the quarterback this draft could somewhat help establish that, though, too. Because without the main man, because Levis is what culture that he was trying to set was high flying, fun, powerful, up front. Like, that's the way I felt this offense was projected last offseason. Was, oh boy, this is fireworks. This is going to be a bunch of like heavy hitters on offense.
Like we finally have a modern offense.
Yeah,
that's how we felt.
That's what it. Yeah, now it's.
And then they ran the ball a ton.
Exactly.
They couldn't do anything else.
So, and now it looks lost right now.
It does. Yeah. That's what's interesting is last year they pivoted more to the run game because it's the only thing they could do well.
Mm-hmm. And Tony Pollard, and I love Tony Pollard. He proves it on the field, but he wasn't in the room leading these teams. You know,
well, he was on the field though. Like that's the point.
I get that, but you need more.
That's the point I'm making is that they pivoted away from what I think Brian Callahan wanted to be as an offense to fit their personnel, which was we can only run the ball successfully. We can't throw it successfully because we throw it to the other team. 615-737-1045. What'd they do? What do you want me to say? It's what happened.
It's just so subtle.
We suffered through 17 games in this crap. The least we can do is be honest about what we saw.
It's just so subtle. You just go to break.
They threw it to the other team. What do you want me to do? I would have loved it if they threw it to the people in blue. Right there. They did not. 615-737-1045. What is your favorite and least favorite thing the Titans have done this offseason? We'll get to Will and Bam first up when we come back. Your comments on the Titans after this.
It's Ramon Foster for Genesis Diamonds. Good people, man, we're lucky to have Genesis Diamonds around here, man. It's such a cut above other places and far and away the leader, the dominant player when it comes to engagement rings and fine jewelry. They have an amazing store if you haven't been to it, all right? Great people who really care and top-notch quality, man. But the best part is the value, the prices, the fact that you get a bigger, better diamond for less. Nobody beats the diamond prices. This is why Genesis is such a disruptor in the jewelry industry. They are the category killer. Remember, Genesis Diamonds was started by a former diamond wholesaler and diamond cutters, man. They have connections that go back for decades, and every diamond is handpicked using the highest standards. I've actually walked in and seen them actually grading the diamonds in the back, man. All this means is this: unbeatable value for you. They refuse to be undersold on GIA-certified diamonds. They have a price guarantee that is not just local. It covers the entire nation. So get the deal you deserve on your diamond. Genesis Diamonds, and don't miss their expanded selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. All the hard-to-find models, too. Check them out. Extraordinary service, unmatched quality, unbeatable value, and unrivaled selection, and no compromises. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
RKW is brewed up by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. As we go, rapid reaction on the phones before Rhett Brian joins us in 15 minutes. Matthew is first up. What's up, Matthew?
Good morning, my friends. Hope everybody's having a good morning.
You as well,
Me
sir.
too.
Hey, on sports, but believe it or not, the Food Network channel this morning announced Hellman's and Duke's have made a deal. Duke's is taking Levis and 3 ham sandwiches to be named later.
Oh, my goodness.
Matthew. Come on, man.
Thank you, Matthew.
Give me turkey sandwiches. It'll be a little bit better.
That's so funny.
So,
Yeah, are you ham or turkey people?
I used to be ham.
I'm a turkey
I'm
guy.
a turkey person.
Yeah,
my wife-
100%.
Am I going to be all alone with ham back here?
Ham is my first choice.
That's tough. You think you know a guy.
My wife buys only turkey, though, so guess what I eat?
Turkey.
Good
I learned to
mesquite
like
smoked turkey.
I like
Easily a one-tier, an A-tier sandwich meat.
I love smoked turkey.
Ham sandwich with some chips, boy.
Honey ham.
Guys, we've
5
talked
star.
way too much about food on the show this morning. I'm hungry.
I just had my
Go get a
oatmeal.
cinnamon roll,
I'm good
Scooters
now.
coffee.
I don't have one by me. I know.
Bam in Nashville is next up. He's been at Scooters
Yeah,
the
he
past
has.
couple of days. Bam, I'm glad you took our recommendation.
Bro, I did it again this morning.
Yes, you should.
Caramelicious, oh, my goodness. The Caramelicious, I'm
I'm
hooked.
telling you, man.
There it is.
Love it.
I'm really hooked. And
I'm
Will,
telling
I'm
you.
with you. Ham all day. Ham first before anything else. Get turkey. It's
That-
ham all day.
That was Jayhawk. You ham? Will?
No, that was Justin.
No.
No, I'm
Yeah,
turkey.
that was
Oh, yeah.
Jayhawk.
Jayhawk's
That was
ham.
ham.
All day.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'll probably eat one today.
There you go.
There you go.
What you got for us, Bam?
I'm here. Y'all said something about a receiver. I heard Traylon Burks. Who is that? Is he a
great
Titans player?
question.
Is he a Titans? Is he a Titans player?
Technically.
Man, look, I mean, I don't. Last time I remember seeing him, he had on a white suit in the draft the night he broke our hearts when J-Rock decided to get him over A.J. Brown. I don't know who that guy is. I haven't seen him do anything. So if I say we do anything, we go get Keenan Allen maybe, or we got to do something, man. This is just this team. This is why
Well,
delicious.
Bam, I'm going to let you react to this live
Whoa,
because
whoa.
Mike Garafolo just put out there the Titans are hosting a receiver today,
Ooh,
Rondale Moore.
Ooh.
Rondale Moore.
Oh,
Okay.
boom, there we go. Okay.
Okay.
See, there we go.
Super Bowl parade is back on, baby.
Come on, man. Come on.
so bad.
I'll be on me. I'm cash apping all y'all for coffee.
Can you bring us by some food from there?
Thank you,
Thanks,
Bam. Thank you, Bam.
Thanks, Bam.
Appreciate the call.
Bam.
Bam is so funny. Now,
What a
look at
day.
that. Breaking news.
A
Not
name like-
huge, but.
That would not
listen.
worth the Laser Light show either.
least
But
he's
yes,
visiting.
Rondale Moore visiting the Titans today. He did not play last season. Yeah, knee injury in camp ended his year with the Falcons last year. The last time we saw Rondale Moore, he had 352 yards. Like,
Why is it that-
these are the kinds of guys that are available to you to pick at wide receiver.
Cheap.
Sheesh.
Cheap.
Yeah, very
is what
cheap.
you got.
Absolutely.
So, Mike Garafolo putting that out there, the specifics of it. Rondale Moore visiting the Titans today, former second-round pick of the Cardinals in the midst of a tour of teams, having met with the Bears, Jets, and Vikings.
Jeez.
As he resets after a knee injury in camp, ended his 2024 season
He's
with
only
the
24.
Falcons.
I forgot, like,
Oh, yeah.
he wasn't that far off of being drafted. I mean, 24 years old.
Oh, yeah.
I remember because he's a Purdue guy.
Oh, remember.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That game he
wild.
had to beat Ohio State,
Yeah.
generational. That one game he had, you all remember that?
Yes.
I do not remember.
Oh, he
got
absolutely cooked them.
close after that.
Let me see. Rondale Moore, Ohio
College
State
stats.
game was a one of the best wide receiver performances of recent memory in college football.
Was
yeah,
this
that
2020?
definitely.
12 catches, 170 and
Ignited
2
him.
touchdowns. He was like unguardable in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Unguardable. Like it's like a good, because that was back when, like Jeff Brom, Purdue would always have their one signature win of the year, then like lose at home to Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
But that was their one big one that year. David Blau was the quarterback in that game.
Oh, God.
His trend in college
Wow.
is insane, man.
Oh,
Well,
he
he
was
only played
good.
one full season, though, too. His freshman year, he made All-American. He had 1,258 yards and 12 touchdowns.
telling you, he was so good that year for Purdue.
Yeah, I see now.
Uh-huh.
But he's only played since then 4 games in 19 and 3 games in 2020.
That was 2018, the year he had the 170-yard game against Ohio State.
It's his All-American year.
Yep.
Rondale. With a name like
So-
Rondale, you're supposed to be a dog, though. So come on, Rondale.
Trying to rejuvenate his. Rondale's trying to rejuvenate his
I don't know how
career.
the names go. Rondale, Herbert. Like, come on now. George.
Is
Paul.
Rondale an old man name?
Man, come on, seriously. Yes.
We call him Ronnie.
How many Rondales you know?
What?
Not many.
Just Rondale Moore.
Moore. Exactly. That's a family name. That's a neighborhood. That's a city name right there. This young man from New Albany, Indiana, in
Yeah.
Kentucky,
Oh, a
man.
Buck guy. A
He
Buck
went
guy.
to Trinity in Kentucky. Like, come on now.
A what guy?
He's a
Buck
New
guy
Albany,
being from
Indiana.
Indiana.
Huh?
Say a butt guy?
A buck guy. A buck rising guy.
Oh, from
You know,
Indiana.
Indiana.
Gotcha. Second round pick, though, man. There's some talent in him. He just got to stay healthy. Clearly, it's his biggest issue. Has to stay healthy.
I was
wild.
so confused.
Yeah.
So there you go. Titans bringing back
Breaking news.
Julius Chestnut and hosting Rondale Moore. These are the types of moves Mike Bergonzi told us they would make.
You don't sound too
At
happy.
least he's following through with
Well,
what
I'm
he
not
said.
unhappy about it. It's just, it's a receiver that didn't play last year that had
Yeah,
300 yards
I
last time
get
we
it.
saw him. Like, it doesn't really change anything. They still need receiver help. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be negative about it.
No,
Like,
I'm not, and I'm not trying to revisit the old conversation again. The conversation of the quarterback in general.
No, they
I don't
have one-
want to want to black cloud this thing at all.
Well, they don't have either.
what
so.
are you talking about?
My point is, if you have a team that's not in a competitive state, you're not in a position to actually be selling the overall pick to move back also. Why is there such a need to go get the quarterback now? The Patriots has picked in the top 5 2 years in a row. One of them, they got their quarterback. This is very true. But the idea that you can be, you don't know how next year's going to go. If we took a poll right now of over and under games, we set that thing at 5 games. I feel like most of this fan base would go under wins.
As of today,
As of today.
I think there's still a 3 or 4 win team
March
today.
19th.
As
March
of
19th.
today, and the draft, of course, should help.
Right.
Right.
But why is there such a rush to go get them when you have to have more than just a quarterback?
At this point, for me, it's because I'd rather watch Cam
know.
Ward than Will
Yeah.
Levis.
I know.
And I think you have to start somewhere. That's
You
where it
do.
begins
But
to you got all
And
these
like
things
I said,
to
I'm not
fix.
trying to black cloud it.
I will
It's-
admit
Right.
that's not a way to run a team. Saying I'd rather watch somebody else than Will Levis.
I know.
No.
Again, all of this is need conversation. You got to
They
get
need
out
a
of
lot.
the need conversation soon, man. But that's my last time bringing it up for a while. I'll see y'all in April. On that
No,
conversation.
we're going to continue to bring it up.
I
We've
know.
got another month and a half to fill until this thing happens.
It does.
But we will cover every facet of this conversation because keeping Will Levis as a starter is still technically an option.
Right.
I don't think it's a realistic one, but it is still something that they could feasibly do.
He's
What if
still
they
on the
have no
roster.
choice?
They do have a
always
choice
have
though.
a
That's the
choice,
thing.
I feel like.
I don't like that question because with the number 1 overall pick, you have more choices than anyone else in the draft. You have every choice.
I was honestly just speaking of like just being bad. Like, what if they have no choice but to be bad?
Well, that to me feels already
given.
decided. Unless Cam Ward is Jaden Daniels, which I don't think he
That's
is.
very true. So there is that side of it too. What if
And
he's that?
there are other reasons why Jaden Daniels was successful. I mean, they ran a college offense. Are you going to run a college offense for Cam Ward? Probably not.
Yeah. We don't
Maybe.
know a lot of that stuff
Maybe.
right now, though.
I don't
a
know.
lot of unknowns.
It's March 19th.
It's my.
I'm just going to make that the title of our YouTube shows now. It's just
March,
and then
whatever.
whatever the date is.
It's April, whatever.
Until the Titans play a football game.
Exactly.
And I mean real football game, not preseason.
Yeah. And Adam right here makes a point in our chat. If you've got a good quarterback prospect just waiting for you, take him because it's the hardest piece to find. But
I don't totally agree with that.
What if you're also picking in the top 5 next year?
Well, because what if the quarterback's EJ Manuel, but you took him just because you have to? How'd that work out for both
And
of
I
them?
don't think they're going to, that's the thing though. I do think Mike Bergonzi and them know what they're up against, right? I think they're not going to take Cam unless they really feel like he can be a dude.
There's two sides of it. Bergonzi's fine. He ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Right? That's the way I view it. Like he can slow walk this thing as long as he wants to at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he and Chad are as far as power struggles and stuff like that. But
Askus is one of them gets fired.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
But
I don't
Callahan's
know.
the one we don't know his future as
And
much.
to be fair, I'm not saying Cam Ward is the same prospect as EJ Manuel. I'm simply talking about this idea that you have to take a quarterback when you need one in the draft. That is what I'm arguing against.
They just have shown they
615-737-1045. Rhett Brian joins us after this.
It's Ramon Foster for Secure Lawn. Good people, I'm getting ready to talk to you about your yards, man, your patio areas, all those things, man. You walk around your yard every day getting mad when you see weeds. Personally, man, I walked outside the other day and looked at my patio area and around, and it was just weeds. This Tennessee spring has just made the weeds start growing quick. Y'all know I'm not lying to you. You're just like, where did you come from? Well, guess what? I got the company for you, man. They are Secure Lawn. And first and foremost, they live off providing a prime service. That's knowing what to do and how to take care of your job properly, man. Take care of your yard properly. They've been here in Middle Tennessee for over 20 years, and lawns is what they do, and they are good at it. Family owned and operated, the quick response time, man, and they're just the best in Middle Tennessee as it pertains to taking care of your lawn. Weeds, just all the bad things that are in your grass. If you want your yard to look like something out of a magazine, this is the company that you need to. So, albeit it be residential, commercial, or even athletic fields, man, go ahead and get a head start on your yard and call Secure Lawn at 615-893-8455 and go to securelawn.com.
Start of the fourth hour of RKW. Good morning for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Will Bowling. Some Titans news this morning from NFL Media's Tom Pelissero, who reports that the Titans are re-signing running back Julius Chestnut to a one-year deal. Chestnut, a special teams contributor and kick return specialist, played in all 17 games for the Titans in 2024. The Titans initially declined an option to keep the former undrafted running back, now added once again to a room that includes Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. Mike Garafolo of NFL Media is reporting this morning that wide receiver Rondale Moore is visiting with the Titans today. The former second-round pick of the Arizona Cardinals is in the middle of a tour of teams, according to Garafolo, having met with the Bears, Jets, and Vikings as he resets after a knee injury in camp, and that his 2024 season with the Falcons. Most recently, Rondale Moore in 2023 caught 40 passes for 352 yards in one touchdown. In 3 seasons, he has 1,201 yards receiving. Last night of the NCAA tournament, North Carolina beat San Diego State 95-68 as R.J. Davis leads the way with 26 points, and an Amar Knox layup lifts Alabama State to its first NCAA tournament win Tuesday night, 70-68 over St. Francis, as the first four continues this evening. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Brewed up by Scooter's Coffee for a fourth and final hour on this Wednesday. With locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood, download the Scooter's Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. It is the fourth hour. It is the fourth quarter, which means on Wednesdays we are joined by Titans Radio's executive producer, Rhett Brian. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gents. How we doing?
Brett?
We're good.
Good. How are you?
Solid, right? How are you this morning?
I'm all right. We're rolling along for a Wednesday hump day.
Yes.
Here we go.
Are you all ready to prepare for Tennessee spring today? Pants and short sleeves. I got on long sleeve shirt and shorts today. That's like appropriate
my
for
favorite kind of
Tennessee
outfit.
spring.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you read the forecast appropriately and you were ready to roll. Absolutely.
Yesterday it was like 30-something. What was it? Monday. Monday it was like 30 degrees outside. And then it was like 68 to 74 by the evening. It was like, what are we doing here, Tennessee?
Yeah,
But I love it.
A lot of variances
I love
there.
it.
It's March.
Our local meteorologist, in addition to executive producer of Titans Radio, Rhett Brian.
Okay.
Who does a terrific job with all of these things. Some news for the Titans this morning. You just heard it a second ago. Julius Chestnut, Rhett, brought back to the team. Justin Mello putting it out there that they saved some money in doing this. They declined an option on Chestnut originally. Now they get him back as running back 3 for less money than the option that they declined, and valuable depth for a guy who continues to perform when needed.
Well, first of all, Julius Chestnut is he's a great dude and hard worker. They like him. They like what he does. And he knows his role. I mean, that's the thing. Pretty quick for a big guy like himself.
Sure.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, he is.
And has helped in spots when needed. Kind of the trajectory of, Nick Westbrook-Akine and that position group.
R.I.P.
But sorry, it was too soon to bring that up, right?
Right.
R.I.P. over here.
R.I.P. in peace.
2 Dolphins down there now.
And Aaron Brewer.
Yeah, that's right.
3.
That's right.
$2 steak.
Did I see right yesterday, Stoney?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Stoney.
All right, yeah, I thought so.
Stoney.
Which is, again, one of those that's like a funny sentence for people that don't know football. Like, yeah, he's a Dolphin now.
I know. He's a Finn.
It's my favorite animal. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked.
Serious?
Yeah.
Remind me to tell you a story later about that. Okay.
Dolphins are my favorite animal. In 8th grade, I swam with one where you like hold on to their fin and they swim you. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life.
And they swim.
It was so much fun. They're like the dog. They're the dogs
when
of
you
the
grab
sea.
their dorsal fin, they swim you.
You know what swim
Anyway.
you means to me? You just got beat for a sack. It's a swim.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's
Very
the
different
wrong
from-
swim
That's the
you.
wrong
We
swim
don't want
you.
that.
I did that on porpoise when I was in 8th grade.
Oh, gosh.
So It's okay. You don't have to.
You can find him online at dadjoke.com.
No, I thought it was great.
You did it on purpose.
Whale.
Doors to your left, sir. Wow. And he continues to.
Oh, yeah. He's going to double down on it. He's got them all day.
Don't get me started in the water world, because I tell you about my love for orcas.
Oh, boy. Those are mean.
Really?
I love killer whales.
They are the true alpha of the seas. People talk about sharks. They're actually the top of the food chain.
Yeah. Orcas are.
Give me some. Yes.
You can tell I'm a little more
mammals.
sleep deprived than usual.
Well,
We just went from Nick Westbrook-Akine to talking about killer whales
dolphins and
in
orcas.
about a 2-minute span.
Orcas are the big
that's
dogs, man.
Well,
They don't
That's
call them killer
actually
whales for nothing.
They don't.
Exactly.
And people, they did that movie Free Willy like they were nice. No, those things are. They've dragged down a few people at
Free Willy.
SeaWorld. R.I.P.
That's why they don't have those shows at SeaWorld.
Exactly. I went and saw one of those.
Anyway,
I saw a couple.
Seen him a couple, yeah.
I love SeaWorld.
read the report as well this morning from Mike Garafolo that Rondale Moore is on a visit with the Titans. Knee injury knocked him out of playing last season for the Falcons. A guy that has been productive in terms of just being an option. Yardage-wise, not significant, but he's had 40 catches in all 3 of his healthy seasons as a pro.
I don't hate the idea because I liked him coming out of college.
Yeah, I remember that.
And if you'll remember, I'd have to go back and look at his numbers off the top of my head. I don't remember them, but he tested off the charts at the combine. The explosion is there. And I want to say his vert was really good. I think his 40 was pretty fast. But yeah, I like that. That's fine by me.
4.32, a 42.5-inch vertical.
There.
20-yard split of 2.48.
Hello.
Which is considered elite.
Hello.
And a 3-cone of 6.68, which is also considered elite.
Hello.
Jeez.
Explosion.
And that is something this receiver room does not have a lot of, is that top-end speed and explosion.
That's true. That is true.
Comeback player of the year for the Tennessee Titans.
I mean, seriously,
I'm okay with that. Let's write that. Let's start writing the script.
Right?
Let's do that.
I like it. Rhett, we're going to dive into some draft running backs in a few minutes. How is the draft prep going? Where are you and Mac on the potting and putting your board together and all these things process that continues?
We've put an initial board together. We have since reset our board in a few places post-combine, and that will ebb and flow and change a little bit between now and April 24th as well. But the most part of the framework is there. And so, yeah, right now it's just keep trucking. What are we, 5 weeks out? And just starting to frame up what draft coverage looks like and all those kinds of things. So, I mean, we're in it. We are definitely in it.
I love it.
Rhett, this draft class, man, is very polarizing. I feel like that more than other draft classes in past. Right? You got the quarterbacks and you got everybody else for the most part. We had our good friend Charles Davis on earlier and said he's talked to some GMs and said the same way he feel about picks, what was it, 50 through 70? You can still get in the back end of this in like the 5th through 7th
Well,
round.
no, he said picks 5 through 55. There's not a major difference in terms of talent.
Insane as it pertains to how you view this class. Like, it's not elite, but it's solid, and you need a lot of solid players on your squad, Rhett, to really make it competent. We don't talk enough about that. It's only a superstar league for the most part.
Well, and you think about what the deal that they did the other day. So they have what, 2 5s, 2 4s, 2 5s, 2 6s.
Yeah.
You know, they need a third. So that do they trade the number 1 pick to make that happen? We'll see. I mean, right now it looks like the Cam Ward show. That's what everybody's kind of lining up and thinking. And I know Charles Davis thinks that as well.
He does.
But could someone swoop in with an offer that they can't refuse?
And that's what this time of the year is. Like I said, you just never know what to believe until it actually happens.
Sure.
I know this to be true, too. And you have, too, because you've been around it for a while. But teams lie. They lie a lot.
Oh, sure
right?
they do.
And what Caleb brought it up
playing
earlier,
poker here.
What do you think they're actually doing? Is this propping up of the number 1 pick for Cam just to make it more valuable for trades? Or is it exactly how they feel? Because who was it earlier? Josina Anderson puts out that Will Levis may be a trade block from somebody from some source that she's gotten on top of that Kirk Cousins too. Like, this is a very fascinating approach to what you do with the number 1 overall pick, depending upon Aaron, Russell, Kirk, and Cam at this point.
Well, when you're talking about the sheer numbers of it, you're not going to keep 3 quarterbacks.
Right.
You might have 3 through OTAs or something, but I mean, I don't see a scenario where And again, the signing of Brandon Allen starts thinking everybody in that way. But if you notice, all the national pundits, they're either very assumptive and very contrite and sincere in what they say is, hey, this is going to be Cam Ward to the Titans. The ones that aren't so sure are saying it looks very much like Cam Ward is the number one overall pick.
Exactly.
We just don't know to who.
To who. And you still have to keep an open mind that that's a possibility.
Yeah, all of this stuff's on the table.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I listened to, I went to King's Bowl yesterday for our March Madness kickoff and was on 3HL yesterday afternoon. And I listened to Jim Wyatt on their show before I came on, and he said a couple things. He said, hey, listen, I have to be careful about players that are under contract in other places, because that's considered tampering, even at his level, being senior writer and editor of TennesseeTitans.com. But he said a couple things. He goes, keep an eye on it. Even though this guy got a bonus in Atlanta, he could still be traded. I'm like, so he's telling us there's all these things are possible.
Right.
They are. So do they take Cam Ward 1 or do they acquire another quarterback? And the problem with acquiring a quarterback is you're going to have to pay, and you don't have a ton of capital to do it with. So somebody mentioned, like, you'd have to give a 3 for Kirk Cousins. I'm like, I don't know that you want. First of all, you don't have a 3 to give.
Exactly, right?
But
Josina brought that up, Anderson, right?
So, but all of these things, certainly possibilities this far out. I think the interesting thing that Adam Schefter put out a couple of days ago is that this is the closest to the NFL draft in over 30 years where there have not been a first-round pick that has been traded, regardless of the number 1 spot, just anywhere in the first round.
Yep.
Jeez.
And I think he said 1993 was the last time when 5 days before the draft, the 49ers traded Joe Montana to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, no trades for first-round picks, 1993. Yeah, 5 days before the draft. You're 100% right.
Wild.
It's crazy. Ooh, not super strong convictions on maybe a lot of players other than the top 4 that we've talked about a lot. That's Shedeur Sanders, that's Cam Ward, that's Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter.
And even the Abdul stuff has died down a little, really.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about it,
quarterback dominates this time of the year.
That's right. And you were
There's
able
no new
to,
info.
And you were able to talk to Abdul Carter, and you talked about this stress reaction, not fracture, whatever. And he's elected not to have surgery. But yeah, it's the talk of the week, the talk of the moment. You're right, Ramon.
Yep.
Coming up, we begin our positional previews in the NFL draft with Titans Radio's executive producer, Rhett Brian, diving into running backs. Ashton Genty, the headliner, but there is a guy right behind him that might be an absolute stud at the next level. If you haven't heard of him, you're about to, and we'll talk about that next. Hey, it's Will Bowling here for my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. Now that March is here and warmer weather is here as well, many of us will find ourselves doing more outside activities, whether we're mowing the lawn, we're going to sporting events outside. Maybe you're making that spring break trip down to the pool, down to the beach. Well, I want to tell you about a revolutionary new product, the Hvac Sphere from Brentwood Hearing Center. They can hook you up with this. It's not only designed to help you hear when there's background noise, but it's also the only completely waterproof hearing aid on the market. Whether you're working up a sweat in the yard or enjoy water activities with your kids, with your grandkids, there's no longer a need to remove your hearing aids. Even around water, you can still participate in conversations. For a demonstration of the Hvac Sphere, give my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center a call at 615-377-0420 or visit them online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. Again, that's 615 377-0420 and online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. RKW is brewed by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Hour 4 on this Wednesday. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. Rhett Brian in studio with us, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling. Rhett, the running back position is a very interesting one in the NFL draft because Ashton Jeanty is that once every 4 or 5 years Ezekiel Elliott or Saquon Barkley type prospect that we could see go, top 10? Is that reasonable to say?
I have seen a scenario where Dallas takes him at 12 for a while.
Oh, gosh, that would be classic.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense.
I've seen some mocks recently that have him in the top 5. Now, I don't know that happens, but yeah, this is a very rich position, maybe the best position in this draft for depth is running back.
Okay.
And
sure,
you got value throughout, but you're going to see a draft on the first round Thursday night, April 24th, where you'll have a couple of backs taken in the first round, maybe 3. But yeah, you're going to see that, and people would say, well, Rhett, that's a devalued position. Well, Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry keep raising the notch on that.
Man.
I mean, you don't think that the Giants would still like to have Saquon Barkley?
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, and like I said, I think there are guys that are day one starters, and I think there's, developmental and everything in between. And the great thing about these guys is there's a lot of them that are good receivers out of the backfield. I mean, Ashton Jeanty, I would argue this. So there's, I've been saying this for weeks, just like a lot of people that you pay attention to, and I think they're right. There's a couple of blue chip players in this, and it's Cam Ward and Travis Hunter. Right. I mean, not Cam Ward, I'm sorry. Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. I've got Cam Ward on the brain like everybody else. I would argue that Ashton Jeanty is like on the fringe of that at the very next top level. Like I think he's very close to being a blue chip prospect. And that's saying something for a guy that's, 5'8", a half and 211 pounds. He's a smaller guy in stature, but I mean, you just look at the body of work and what he can do. And I know he played at Boise State, but it's more than just a big fish in a little pond kind of thing.
He also, to me, feels like, Rhett, his floor is Pittsburgh. No more Najee Harris. You think about the cultural fit and the style that the Steelers play, that obviously the guy to my left and the guy sitting right beside you would know better than anybody. But Ashton Jeanty feels like a Steeler if he gets to them at 21?
If he drops, 21.
Yeah, because didn't they extend Jaylen Warren?
Jaylen Warren got his tender. I think it's second round tender.
Okay.
And Najee Harris is in L.A.
They signed Kenneth Gainwell also.
That's right.
So, but yeah.
This would be the perfect complement to those two.
It would. I
don't think he'll get that far, but that feels like his, right. If everybody has kind of that low water mark of like, all right, well, they're not getting past this team. To me, it feels like Pittsburgh is that for Ashton.
I think that's fair.
And
I do.
That's where they took Najee at last time, too. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Pick before.
Rhett, for all the hype around Jeanty, though, if Omarion Hampton, the running back out of North Carolina, was in any other draft class, I feel like he is being talked about as a premier prospect and first-round running back. 4.46 in the 40, or is that an 8?
Stand by.
4.46. 4.46 in the 40. I had it right the first time.
Yep. 10-yard split, 154.
That's moving.
38-inch vert, 10-10 broad, 18 reps at 225.
For a guy who's 5'11", 221, there is a speed and acceleration element for a big-bodied back who, when you watch him play, Rhett, he just stays on his feet, and his low center of gravity and balance is extraordinary.
So, grew up in Clayton, North Carolina. So he's a North Carolina guy, born and bred, 4-star recruit, commits to the University of North Carolina. And all you got to do is put on the tape from this past season. I mean, 2,033 all-purpose yards and 17 total touchdowns. He had over 1,600 on the ground, 200 and change out of the backfield, and a couple more receiving touchdowns on the 15 that he had on the ground. And, yeah, he's got the long speed, too. That's the thing about it. And, yeah, if there were no Ashton Jeanty in this draft, Omarion Hampton. And here's the other thing. We started to hear that week at the Combine that Omarion Hampton might be running back number one, perceived by a lot of teams. That was one of the conversations that week. And, but, yeah, he's a boss. He is absolutely a boss.
Does it suck in today's, and I think it's gotten better. Is it bad? I shouldn't say that. Is it bad that, like, as much as every team needs a real good running back, the way they get minimized, right? Because I'm looking at even Ashton Genty's situation. He's going to have to be dynamic, especially being a first-round running back, because I feel like most teams going to get the 4, maybe give them the 5th-year option, and then they're done. And then you find yourself in positions like Najee Harris and others that have run down this same road of former first round. I'm not sure if Bijan Robinson is in that conversation, though, Rhett, to be like, no, he's an extension guy. Maybe it's important to team or philosophies, but it's one position that at running back that, like, every team has a philosophy behind.
Well, and your old teammate Le'Veon Bell took the wrong path.
And then there's that.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's that.
Because Pittsburgh played that exactly like they should have, and then when he was tagged, the second time, he said, nah, I'm good.
And then you go to a system that doesn't work for you. So it is, I guess everybody has a standard in what they're going to operate into.
But by the same token, there's only one Derrick Henry. There's only one Saquon Barkley. So if you are in that echelon, that tier, that pod, then, you're going to get a second contract that's valuable. But those are fewer and further between. And, again, the other thing that perpetuates what your question is and what you're talking about is the 7-on-7 football. Like, there is a streamline of receivers and running backs and those kinds of things because of that activity that starts when these guys, little bitty guys, playing football.
Another guy, Rhett, that's had a lot of fanfare in the college football playoffs, man. I'm wondering, how does he fit the same thing we're speaking of in the NFL, and that's Cam Scatterbo. Do you see him as a third-day pick, late roster, maybe 53rd man type of guy? Because the toughness that he has is awesome, but that's good in college. It's a different monster when you walk into the NFL.
I don't know that he's day 3. I think he's night 2.
Okay. I'm into that. Yeah. I'm into that.
I mean, when you look at the college football playoff and what he did in that bowl game against Texas,
dog.
He was a one-man gang, man. I mean, he had 143 yards rushing, 99 through the air, 42-yard touchdown pass, forced 102 missed tackles on runs last season, second in the FBS, behind only Ashton Genty.
Right.
And the other part is, you know what you're getting. You talk about a football player now. A football player with some skills.
Right there.
Yeah. No,
and he played really well in the playoffs.
Oh, God.
That was a good look for him.
He absolutely did.
Strength of the stats.
I was looking
absolutely
it up.
did.
He could be, what did he used to call him, Doug Martin back in the day, the muscle hamster, whatever his name was. I had to look at it. I was quick searching.
I don't mind that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you get the similar things with a guy like him.
Only Cam Scatterbo is 5'9.5", 219. He's a little bigger than the muscle hamster, but yeah.
I'm going to take Travis Henry.
Travis Henry,
a smaller, bigger, thicker guy like that.
Trying to bring him down to block a government cheese.
I'm telling you.
The cheese, baby.
That's big time.
T-Hen was, woo-wee. Man, he was something. I'm going to tell you who I am bullish on, and they both had very good combines and some similar testing numbers. But I tell you who I really like in this is Travion Henderson from Ohio State.
I was just going to bring him
talk
up.
about a dude that made the most of things as he got. And this is a guy that missed some serious time with a foot injury a couple of years ago. But you're talking 5'10 and a half, 208 pounds. These are the numbers that stand out to me. 7.6 yards per touch, number 1 in the running back class this year in draftable running backs.
That's
moving. 7.6 yards per touch. 15% of his runs gained 15 yards or more. Number 1 in the running back class. And this is my favorite one. 667 touches at The Ohio State University. 0 fumbles. Number 1 amongst the running back football class in this draft.
You walk into the league with trust.
Yeah. And Rhett, what I loved about him is his willingness when they brought in Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss, the way those two worked together when one of them could have had that attitude of, I don't want to deal, like this guy's getting more. It was the way he handled it at Ohio State. That was really impressive.
It's one of the many reasons why Ohio State hoisted the trophy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it took a village, and it took those two. And you're right. That's to humble yourself a little bit and go, all right, I've got to be a teammate here.
Yeah.
Sure.
But knowing that Ryan Day is going to say, hey, listen, you're going to get your touches. You guys are going to get your touches. I can't just – I don't know how many times I've heard a head football coach say, if I start worried about dividing up this and dividing up that, we're going to look at the scoreboard and go, what happened?
Yes, sir.
And so you just can't do that.
How about Quinshon Judkins, speaking of his teammate, who is also highly regarded in this draft in the running back class?
All right, so 1,060 yards. So he actually led the team in rushing because Travion had 1,016 yards. Explosive physical run style, 121 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns in the national championship game. I mean, in the biggest stage. And again, you look at their testing numbers, they're similar. Travion Henderson, 4.43 in the 40, first 10 split, 1.52, 38.5-inch vertical leap, by the way, on Travion Henderson. Let me look at Quinshon Judkins, 4.48 in the 40, 1.51 in his first 10, 38.5-inch vertical and a broad jump of 11 feet. So you can see the explosion. And, okay, they ran in the 4.4s. They're not CJ2K.
Right.
But you know what you're going to get. And I'm sorry, just, coming from a high caliber, top-notch national championship football program, you're talking about guys that are going to help you in day one.
For sure.
And going back to Marion Hampton for a second, too, that's a guy that, he returned, people forget about this, he returned kicks as a freshman at North Carolina. So there's a little special teams value there, which is, now, if you draft a Marion Hampton, you're probably not going to be worried about him doing too much in special teams. But
if they needed to.
His birthday was just the other day, too.
There you go.
Was it?
16.
Rhett, what about Dylan Sampson going into all this thing, and where does he fit in this equation? Because the comparisons to Alvin Kamara, to me, were warranted based on what they did at Tennessee as pass catchers, as guys that just kind of explode through the gaps in the defense, and they disappear because they're not very big, and then they just come out of a big pile and they're gone. His straight line speed between the tackles is something that was really, really rare for a guy his size, to me.
To your point, definitely a north and south runner, 5.8 yards per carry on 258 carries for 1,491 yards and 22 scores. And again, to your point, 5'8" and 1/8, 200 pounds. Hands 8 3/4, arms 30.5, wings 73. So he's not super huge, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And he's going to be, and the only testing he did at the combine, 35-inch vert, broad of 10.4, bench press of 13 reps at 225. But all you're going to get's a football player there.
Right.
Like you're talking about a value pick in this, and I don't know exactly where he goes at this moment, but I think he's late night 2 is probably what we're looking at.
Sure.
But again, all it takes is one person, one team, one organization to go, you know what, we really like, and you get to that point where we don't know where he is in pods on people's war rooms, and it's like, he's the highest guy left. You know what? Go.
And you know how it goes.
Put the card in. Send it to the commish.
Max says it all the time. There's runs. Like when the running back runs happen, especially if it happens in a second, other team's going to jump in.
And you'll see there's enough running backs throughout this draft. You'll see those tiers of from day one starters to solid, help out rotational guys to development. You'll start to see a run on each of those kinds of groups of there absolutely is runs on.
He apparently got his 4.42 at Tennessee, not 4.42. I'm not sure.
Unofficially,
unofficially ran a 4.4.
And that's the thing about. That's the only, not necessarily a downside, but when you don't do that at the combine with official times, you get some scouts that go, all right, I'm a little skeptical. That's a hand timed 40 and whatever. But still, you go to your place where you have done the most of the work and you're comfortable to work with your folks. I get it.
Right. People rave about him in Knoxville. You ask anybody about Dylan Sampson's leadership and toughness and ability to galvanize that offense. I can speak to that certainly because he was the alpha of that entire offense. It was not Nico. It was not even really any of the linemen, receivers. Like it was Dylan Sampson's offense, and that is what you were getting in that guy. You were getting an intense, vocal leader who gives a crap. He's from Louisiana. Like They're bred a little bit differently down there, athletically and personality-wise. And I mean that in a positive, that he is Baton Rouge, Louisiana through and through. Rhett, quickly, is there a name we've not gotten to that you feel like could be a diamond in the rough at the running back position specifically?
As I look at it here.
I'm putting you on the spot a little bit there.
Taj Brooks
I like Taj
is there.
Brooks.
Woody Marks from Southern Cal. I'm going to give you one right here, though. And you talk about testing off the charts at the combine is Bashal Tootin.
Okay.
What a name.
From Virginia Tech. 4.32 40. And his vert was out of the sky too. It was crazy. But
nice.
Yeah, that's a name you should remember. And yeah, Caleb Johnson from Iowa, Devin Neal from Kansas. Those are guys that can help somebody. But yeah, Bashal Tootin from Virginia Tech. I would remember that name.
Well, okay.
Interesting.
Bashal Tootin. It's hard with a name like Bashal. He has to be good.
Bhayshul.
Bashal Tootin.
Yeah.
That's one heck of a name.
A Hokie.
Sounds like a spice.
He is Rhett Brian with us Wednesdays at 9 o'clock here in studio on the show as we continue preparations for the NFL draft. Rhett, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm glad to do it. And going to do OTPs now. It's positional draft.
Nice.
I'm going to put some things on Hvac.
I love it.
Release them at a time or two. But I'll be back next week and we'll cover whatever position group we decide we want to do.
Good stuff. What we're hearing.
What we're hearing.
We honestly, every time there's a report that like Josina Anderson types put out there, that's just like words, like rumors, but no really like reporting. We should just have a cut of that.
And Diana Rossini, here's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
That way you're not wrong.
Exactly.
That's it.
It's CYA.
That's right.
Is what that is. Coming up, Inky Johnson, Midweek Motivation, wraps up the show.
We need it.
We've got the trucks, all the trims, all the towing, all the bells and whistles, and all at Truck Month Savings. Two Rivers Ford is Ford Truck Central.
It's Ramon Foster for Low T Center. Man, if you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation to drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Listen to me. Don't wait, find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. And it's just a simple test. And with their on-site lab, you'll get your results back right there. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy or TRT for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients. And super important, the personal treatment plans are optimized for each patient. These aren't just basic standard treatments. No, absolutely not. It's specifically for you. For the current patients, too, Low T Center offers you a $150 referral credit for each new patient that you refer. Low T Center is a place where you also get your health evaluated with treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medication. So, get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
RKW Brewed by Scooters Coffee continues as we wrap up the show. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. I would like to wish everyone a happy Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is the best day of the year. It's the best day of the year.
College basketball, NCAA
Day
tournament.
1 and 2 of the NCAA tournament, of the real part of the NCAA tournament, are the best days of the year. I genuinely cannot wait. And I like the first 4 because it's more basketball. It's kind of weaning us off of conference tournament week when there's just basketball on from 9 a.m. until like 1 a.m. It's just like slowly, it's an appetizer for a full course meal.
Man, Savage was talking about it. It sounded, there it is.
Oh, yes.
There it is. He was
Makes me so happy.
He was speaking about it in the sense like with March Madness, it just ends. Like there is no like lead up to it for the most part.
That's
and there you are, just flipping through the channels trying to figure out what to watch.
Well, because it does also, and from the team standpoint, right? Like we're looking at this like this huge event that's going to take weeks that is just like so massive. But then when your team loses and it's just like Thanos snapping his fingers, it's like, oh wait, the season's over. Wait,
the first weekend,
come back.
by far the best. Because then you just know they're going to start to whittle it down. And while that's great, because, you get to watch good basketball, the excitement, though, becomes less and less unless your team's in there.
I am more excited for the students in middle schools and high schools all around the country who will have, do they still wheel in TVs into rooms now? I feel like every classroom just like has a TV in it already now.
Yeah, they do.
There's like a flat screen on the wall.
Or their iPads. They all have like iPads too now.
Well, that's just what you do without the teacher knowing. Like, I mean, like the cool teacher that will just like wheel in a TV and be like, yeah, I want to do class today. Here you go. Let's watch basketball. Because like I would just watch, sorry, teachers. I know many of you listen. I would just watch the games on my laptop in class. And then there's the boss button that you could hit. You ever do that?
Yeah, no.
We did not have
So on March Madness
laptops.
Live, well, no, I just mean, anyway, this is something in the last like 10 years.
That's what I'm
Like
saying.
when you're at work, even, it doesn't have to be school, where there's a boss button where on the March Madness Live website, you can hit boss button and it will show an email like immediately.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a real thing?
Yeah, no, it's called the boss button. And you hit the boss button, and it literally brings up like an Outlook page where it's like an email about the tournament, which is kind of funny. So if like your boss is over your shoulder, it looks like you're sitting in an email.
They've done that?
Oh, no, I've been doing that since high school. Wow. We've been hiding our screens from teachers.
Well, we
How
didn't
many
have any of
brackets you
that
got?
stuff back in the day.
I have 0.
You got 0? I got 1. How many you got?
2.
You got 2?
Was the station one just go in and do it, or are we paying money?
Is what?
I don't think we can.
Is there a
Do we not
station
have a
one?
station bracket?
No,
I don't know.
Oh, usually we have, not here, but in the past I've had station.
I'm sure if we have one, it'll be told to us like the second before the tournament starts.
I can't wait to guess my picks at that point.
Or it's probably in my email that I've not checked, which would be my fault.
That'd probably be the best bracket I have. It's the one that I quickly go through.
Right?
I used to do 2. I used to do a fun one and a legit one, and now that's just too much work. I just do 1.
No, that's what I'm saying. Mine, I had the Vols winning. I got real bias towards the end. I was like, I can't see us losing to them. Won't lose to them.
Yeah, right? At one point, I had 4 SEC teams in the Final Four.
Yeah, which
was wild. I was like, this can't happen.
Yeah, it's all a crapshoot anyway. It is.
Brandon on YouTube says boss button was definitely around in 2008. Yep,
it was.
Well,
do not remember that one. That's
I
new
was
to me.
definitely not in high school.
I didn't get my laptop until I was a freshman in high school, I believe, is when I got a laptop. Which would have been, do y'all want to know when I was a freshman in high school?
Hello, let me guess. You were a freshman in high school in 2007.
2005?
No.
2014.
No, what? No, all right, not that crazy. 2011, 2012 was my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
I graduated high school in 2015. My 10-year anniversary this year. I'm old.
I just played in
I'm closer to 30 than I am 25
he
now.
says.
I'm 27.
Oh, Lord.
I'll be 28 in July. Enter my tar and pool year. Real ones
Wait
get
till
that
you
one.
hit 30.
Oh my gosh, 30s ain't that bad. I think our generation hyped up 30s so much that like when you hit them, it's just like, yeah, you almost feel like you're still in your 20s. At least I did for the most part. Like
You should always feel like you're in your 20s. Or else you're going to get
thought
old.
hitting 30 was overhyped, I felt like.
Yeah.
I still look like I'm 25.
I thought you was 42 already.
Shut up. Inky Johnson, midweek motivation. If you're feeling 42 this morning, let Inky knock you back down to 30. Inky Johnson wraps up the show. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.